Hold on. I don't want to be putting this shit on during.
What, we good? You already pressed it?
Are we live?
What up, what up? A2HH Live. Shout out to everybody in the room. Thumbs up in the chat. We're going to have some fun today with some hip hop. Talk some real hip hop topics here. Got everything coming in. We got, oh man, the ads be coming first. Coop, how you doing on this lovely Wednesday?
Be doing better if this clip would work. Also, too, OJ, we saw your chat. The difference between us and Lauryn Hill when we're late is that you actually know you're going to get a great show out of us when we're late.
And we appreciate the fact that y'all are here. You know what I'm saying? You know what? We're going to start with some sports talk as we normally do. I've been dying to get into this. And, oh man, now my devices are going out. Let me put everything on Do Not Disturb. We're getting everything together here.
That bullshit.
You could, Coop.
No, I hate this fucking. I hate technology.
Hey man, technology is a part of our lives now, man.
Man, technology be too technical. Like the back to this fucking device.
I was gonna say something about this discussion about LeBron, right?
Yes.
There was a discussion that came up. I think it was Shannon and Stephen A. Smith. They were talking about something that LeBron said to the effect of basically, if he never would have went to Miami, his legacy is what it is because he worked hard to be who he is, and none of that changes anything. Do you think that Bron's move to Miami added to his legacy, or did nothing, everything would have stayed the same? He said my mic's low. Turn my mic up, son.
I say this in all due respect to LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about LeBron as a top 5 player, or somebody who is potentially the greatest player of all time, or somebody who is right behind Michael Jordan, when you're talking, that person that you're talking about, you're not talking about Cleveland LeBron. You're actually talking about Miami LeBron. Like the guy who's in the conversation to be the GOAT, those are his peak years, Mike. That's where he's MVP 2 times, Finals MVP 2 times, NBA champion 2 times, All NBA first team offense and defense. That's the guy. And so for him to act like that's not the guy, slightly problematic.
I will say this. LeBron's always been amazing, and all of my Cleveland people always talk about that game that he had against Detroit where he basically, just ran the team himself. But
Allen Iverson did shit like that for years and nobody said a word. So it's like, that's what I'm saying.
We always give Iverson his props, but I got you. But what I will say, though,
I'm saying, though?
Yeah. I will say this, though. LeBron in Miami, it was like he powered up on some superhero shit. But I do think that those 2 years where he came back to Cleveland, and specifically that year where they beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, I think that is the single best LeBron season, or single 2 best seasons, or double if you want to say. I think those are the best seasons I've ever seen him play. And I think that Miami has a lot to do with that level of development. Because when he went back to Cleveland, obviously he had Kyrie and he had Kevin Love this time. And Kevin Love wasn't as much of a factor as we thought he was going to be initially. But LeBron was way different than the LeBron that was in Cleveland before. And I think that Miami has damn near everything to do with that.
I would disagree with you and tell you that his best seasons were the 2 seasons that he won back-to-back championships, back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back finals MVPs, and made all NBA offense and defense both of those years. I think you're talking about closer LeBron, not player LeBron. I think you're talking about LeBron.
I guess closer. The eye test, man, because it was like, man, he just looked unstoppable when he got back to Cleveland. He was like smaller, like, you know what I mean? Like he was he's always been super athletic, but when he was running niggas down and stuff, but that tandem with him and Wade, that's one of the greatest duos we've ever seen.
Yeah,
in pro sports.
I don't agree with that. I think LeBron after Miami is a better situational player in key moments and knows when to level up. That guy in 2012, he could just give it to you every night, every single way. Not to bring him up. When I bring up the fact that Kevin Durant scored 30 points a game against him in the finals and shot 50% from the field against him, Mike, I also have to be honest, it didn't fucking matter because nobody's beating 2012 LeBron except for a prime Mike. And so that's what I'm saying when it's like, oh no, Mike never had nobody as good as KD was that season and playing that way, and it didn't matter. That's why it's like, no, give me that guy. Because that guy at his peak can cancel like literally almost anything out. It's like, oh no, you're 30 points and 50% from the field. Don't matter. You're going home 4-1.
Now I do think
that's the guy.
I think that championship experience, I guess, talking point is slightly unfair when it comes to LeBron because everybody needed championship experience. You know what I mean? Like Magic, we talked about him before the show. Like Magic had Kareem's experience to kind of lean on. Now, obviously, Magic did his thing, but he had that experience to lean on. Shaq and Kobe, like you said, kind of did it together. Even Wade, he had Shaq's championship experience there to actually lean on. So I don't understand why it's different when it's LeBron. It's like, when it's LeBron, it's like, oh, well, they taught him how to be a champion. Well, everybody had somebody to teach them how to be a champion.
I think here's the thing with Kareem. Kareem was never a leader. He was always the best player on the team. KD-like, in the sense.
Mm-hmm.
Best player on the team, not a leader. Kareem had Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson was the leader of his championship team. Not the best player on the team, but the leader of the team.
Who would you compare Kareem to now, though? Because that's an interesting thing where you're like the best player on the team, but you're not the leader of the team. Is that KD-ish?
That is KD. It is very KD-like. You know, the same way I praise him, we also have to be honest.
Yeah.
His biggest detraction is his leadership skills or lack thereof. You know, Magic's a leader. Wade is a leader, and I think because Wade is such a leader, we'd never seen somebody as great as LeBron need a leader like Wade to take him over the top and take him to that next threshold.
Right. I mean, Wade even had to, kind of dial it down as a leader just so, LeBron could flourish. No. That was even though I still think that Shaq was the leader of those Laker teams, but there was also moments, and Phil Jackson said this, where Kobe had to kind of dial his game down to make sure that Shaq flourished, because Shaq having a game is more
impactful.
Yeah, it's more backbreaking to the opponent than Kobe having a great game.
Yes. Yeah,
because there's nothing you could do with that guy.
Okay, so let's just have this conversation right quick, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Kobe. I would take Kobe over all these soft-ass niggas playing basketball.
Right.
LeBron and KD included. I told you, if you give me a game, it's like, oh no, I'm taking Kobe over LeBron and KD.
Yeah, if we're going into the playoffs right now.
Yeah,
depending on my personnel, but yeah, for the most part, I'm going to pick Kobe.
Correct. But also with that, Kobe's 40 and Shaq's 40 points ain't built the same, Mike.
No, it's not.
It's not the same thing.
I mean, the percentage, the field goal percentage alone makes you going to pick the Shaq thing.
And so you want to know what?
Shice the 30 got a super chat. He says, "What's up, fellas? Keep your foot on their necks." What are you gonna say? My bad.
No. I just have a little stat for you.
Okay.
This is for the people that were thinking that I was overstating Shaq's dominance when Kobe was there.
Okay.
And this is why I talked about Kobe the way that I did, and it wasn't disrespectfully.
Thumbs up in the chat, y'all. Thumbs up in the chat.
The Lakers' NBA career final stats for Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. Would you like me to read them out for you right now? Shaq played 20 games in the finals as a Laker. Kobe 19. Shaq's points per game, 33.6.
Jeez.
Kobe's 22.2. Shaq's rebounds per game, 14.1. Kobe's rebounds per game, 5.2. Listen to this. Even the assists are close. Shaq has 3.1 assists. Kobe has 4.9. Know who really ran it?
Yeah, that's not even close.
So
hold on. What stats did you pull up? You pulled up when they were together, or just overall?
Lakers NBA Finals career stats.
Career.
Those
okay, gotcha.
Career.
Okay.
Now let's get this clear.
I saw that meme going around.
There ain't no type of gap like that between KD and Steph. So when you were talking like that, that's why I was like, oh no, that ain't what's going on over here. One guy is clearly the motherfucking man.
Well,
one guy
the Kobe fans got to say something. What do y'all got to say?
One guy. Let's hold on. Let's not get into field goal percentage, because his field goal percentage in the finals is absurd.
You got some more stats?
No, that's all.
Yeah, Mike, that's all the stats
Mike,
you need.
Do you need more than 33, 14, and 3 from a 7-1 center?
I will say this, man.
Do you need more than that?
Do we need a fact check out here? Or is that internet meme stuff?
22-5-4 or 34-14-3. You tell me who run it.
Hey, listen, man.
And so
if all those are legit,
so for
it's not even close.
So for those 3 rings, like I was talking about, it's like, oh no, it's not even close. It never was. It's a gap. This ain't Steph and KD where one guy's averaging 33 and the other guy's averaging 26. No. This is 33-22.
That's a lot of points.
This is 14-5. Kobe is literally the shooting guard. Shaq is the center, the assister, literally less than 2 assists apart.
LP with the super chat said, and that's probably the triangle, actually. But yes.
I'll give it to the triangle. No, you're right. That is the triangle because Shaq ain't averaging no damn 3 assists.
Yeah, because Shaq is kicking it out. Boom, boom.
That's also shooter Kobe, though, too. Kobe, like, yeah, I'm not passing anybody.
And Derek
but Shaq.
Fisher.
He's like, Kobe's like, I'm not passing anybody but Shaq, though.
LP with the super chat says, Kobe don't care about shooting 30 at 50%. Kobe's dropping 40 at 30%, but winning the game. That's been KD's gift and curse. Curry is greater than KD by every metric.
Except for those final MVPs when they played on the same team. You know, the championships, you know, the peak points, you know, the points that we really judge our greatest players by. One guy showed up big. That's what I'm saying. Think about this. All of KD's finals appearances are against LeBron. Now, how does KD look against LeBron and how does Steph look against LeBron? Say less.
Yeah, I mean, we already
say less.
What I was going to say, though.
Love Steph.
Me too. Do you think that KD focuses too much on his efficiency and it gets in the way of winning the game? Because I think that's an interesting point the LP put out there where it's like Kobe's not caring too much about the efficiency. He's trying to do what it takes to win the game, whereas KD might go out there and not shoot as much because he's not seeing the looks that he needs to see, and you might end up losing the game because he wasn't aggressive enough. You know what I mean?
Nobody ever said that about Larry Bird, who's probably the most efficient player we've ever seen next to KD. Nobody ever said that about Larry Bird. Larry Bird and KD's game is very comparable in the fact that it's like, no, Larry Bird wasn't like a 25-shot-a-night guy, Mike. He would go get you 28 points on about 12 to 15 shots.
Well, we've seen Larry Bird do certain things intangibly to win the game, like that play against Detroit. Like, I don't think there's any KD plays like that we can really point to. But maybe he's just not that kind of player.
Game 3 in the finals, back-to-back years against LeBron.
What play are we talking about?
The 3-pointer when LeBron and them had came back in the first finals and were literally making it a series, and KD came up the court literally 2 straight times in Cleveland and drained 3-pointers right in front
I got you
of
on
LeBron.
Stuff like that. I'm thinking about stuff like inbounding, where, you know what I'm saying, you stealing the ball, like, because like I'm talking about that Bird play Detroit.
So he stole that ball from Isaiah Thomas, though. Do we knock Isaiah Thomas for that?
No, it's Larry Bird.
Right. It's Larry Bird doing Larry Bird things. And also, to understand, it's like, well, when you have Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish in the paint, you can afford to go for that ball in the backcourt. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. When Dennis Johnson is your floor general, you can afford to take those type of risks. Dennis Johnson is
what a great play that was.
Dennis Johnson is a defensive player of the year and a finals MVP.
He's a great player that doesn't get talked about. That team was stacked.
A finals MVP.
That team was stacked.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Dennis.
DJ, McHale, Parrish, Danny Ainge, Bill Walton. Yes.
Bill Walton, yeah.
So, respectfully, it's like, in all respect due to the Golden State Warriors, no, that ain't the 86 Celtics. That ain't that team.
No.
Like, all due respect, it's like, no, Magic had Kareem and Worthy. Like, Byron Scott was your 4th option. Like, a prime Byron Scott on most teams would have been a top 5 shooting guard in the league, maybe top 3. Like, after Clyde and Mike. Like, he was like that in his prime.
Who's your favorite player in the NBA under 30?
Ooh, under 30?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Duke guy, so I immediately went to Tatum in my mind. But then I think about how Tatum played against Golden State in the finals.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And I'll say, nah, until you do something about that, not you.
I think Tatum's very talented, but he's not there for me yet.
He's got a lot of McGrady to his game. For better and for worse.
He does. I think he's very efficient, though.
And hold on.
Not consistent.
And also, too, Mike, in the game of basketball, where shooting percentage matters from every aspect, when the fuck is being too efficient ever really hurt a team? You see how we create these arguments for KD? This is the first time I've ever heard somebody talk about an all-time great NBA player. It's like, oh, no, he's too efficient to the detriment of a team. Since when?
I think the efficiency gets in the
Since
way
when?
of his aggressiveness. You know what I mean?
I will give you this. It's almost like something bad has to happen for him to get to play aggressively like he should. Like
Yeah.
they went on a 3-game skid, and then he went and busted somebody's ass for 41. And I
It's
was
like
like,
you want to see this all the time from a
what?
talent like
Well,
this.
not all the time. It's like, why didn't you bust their ass after you lost 1 game?
Right.
You had to lose, and that's the thing about him. Is like, oh no, they had to lose. Phoenix had to lose 3 straight games before he was like, no, I'm about to go bust everybody's ass tonight. It's like you waited 3 games for that. Now that's the problem, not his efficiency. It's
a momentum thing.
It's a quirky thing. It's almost like, I swear, it's like he almost doesn't care unless he's playing LeBron, Mike, and that would be my problem with him.
I mean, maybe he's one of those guys that plays up and down to his competition, and the only person he could play up for is LeBron. Really.
Right. Nobody else really excites
in that
him.
position.
No,
you know?
I think nobody else excites him. Like, there's nobody else. It doesn't matter what you do because it's like in his heart, he knows he's like, well, you're not a better player than me.
Jokic has to excite people, man. Pause.
I mean, but look at how he played against Jokic. He played well. He just didn't shoot well, which is rare for him. But think about it, too. When people talk about his efficiency. Oh, no, he shot the ball a whole lot against Denver. He just wasn't hitting. Mm-hmm. And so that's not a fair argument to make. So he didn't let his efficiency get in the way that time because he took more shots and he hit less shots because he's not the type of person. Like, some people get better the more they shoot, like a Kobe, like a McGrady, like a Mike. KD's not like that. He's either got it or he don't.
Mm-hmm. Let me get to these super chats. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, I hear you, Coop, but who won more without the other? Kobe. Kobe is the only guy who beat 3 top 75 players without a top 75 player on his own team.
Isn't Gasol top 75?
He wasn't, but he should have been. He was robbed.
Gasol didn't make the top 75?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he
should have.
Yeah, they bugging.
That's like if he had Dwight Howard in his prime and you say he didn't have a top 75 player. Dwight Howard's a top 75 player. It is what it is.
I'm not taking anything away from Kobe. Those two rings, it's not Akeem Dirk level, but it's the next step down. And I'll give him that.
Hakeem, he beat an inexperienced Magic team. And
I ain't trying to hear that. Shaq and Penny were on the court. I don't care how.
Yeah.
No. Shaq and Penny was on the court.
It's very similar to that, but they got swept. So clearly their inexperience had a lot to do with the way they lost. But I agree with you.
I think Akeem had a lot to do with that.
Oh, of course. Akeem is Akeem.
I'm
just saying he was playing against guys that he was better than. Now, those guys were more marketable than him at the time. And we were in an era, at least, I was like in 7th grade then. We didn't really glorify fundamentals because Jordan was running shit, right? So the flashy team, the team with Shaq and Penny, they're going to blow these old niggas out. But see, Akeem showed us how fundamentals worked in that era. And we hadn't seen that. At least I hadn't seen that at that point.
I find Michael Jordan to be the most fundamentally sound 2-guard ever.
I agree, but he's flashy too.
He's flashy as fuck.
Yeah.
Flashy as fuck.
You don't even notice his fundamentals because of how flashy
we didn't notice his fundamentals actually until he came back from retirement. It's like, his footwork's better than everybody else's too. It's like, his pace, his setting, the way he dribbles the ball, his ball control. Like Michael Jordan's ball control is underrated. How many times did you see people steal the ball from Mike?
Exactly.
Right. So there is something to be said for it.
Like everything's 100.
All jokes aside, and not to get on the New Yorkers in the chat because I know there's plenty of them. Akeem's real claim to fame is beating that Knicks team. That Knicks team was loaded.
They were, and they should have won.
They should have won.
They should have closed them out in the Garden. And they didn't. And I agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And you know what the difference was? One team had Patrick Ewing. One team had Akeem Olajuwon.
I will say this, man. I love the
Otis
New York
Thorpe and Mario Ellie and Sam Cassell. No. That ain't Derek Harper and John Starks and
Oakley, Mason. They had everybody, man. They had a team.
No, how about this? They were pushing Mike. Those Knicks teams pushed Mike further than all the finals teams did.
They did. They were. I remember as a kid, that's who I wanted to see the Bulls play. I know it was about to be a game.
They had Mike down 2-0. How many people in Mike's prime had Mike down 2-0 other than the Knicks? Nobody.
Reggie with the super chat says, has there been another...
Reggie, speaking of Reggie, maybe Indiana did it once too.
They did.
Yeah.
Reggie with the super chat says, has there been an active superstar of LeBron's caliber that was consistently quoting their resume to the public to prove that they were the best? No one's ever been under the microscope that LeBron's been under. So any of these things, I don't think that I don't think there's any equivalent to them. You know what I mean?
I feel about LeBron a lot of the way I feel about Jay in terms of where I rank him. We're talking objectively, number 2. If we're talking personally, I'm probably sliding him down because I don't find him. I'm not taking him over Akeem. I'm not taking him over Shaq. I'm not taking him over Kobe. I'm not taking him over Bird. I'm not taking him over Mike because I know what he does. Because I know what those guys do when you need them to do without any of what Wade did.
Yeah.
They don't have no finals.
The guidance.
They don't have no finals meltdown like he had against Dallas. Like when I talk about Kobe shooting 37%, oh no. If LeBron would have even played half as well as Kobe played against Detroit, Dallas would have won. I mean, Dallas wouldn't have won the championship. And so it's like, I'm going to be mindful of it. But it's like, yeah.
That Dallas team was stacked, man.
That I don't.
They just had a lot. This is what it was.
I
wouldn't say quote unquote stacked, but that Miami team was just too thin, and this team had too much depth. They were 3 deep in every position, so they could beat them on just straight up a marathon. You know what I mean?
Sean Marion, and Jason Terry shouldn't be whooping your ass in the fourth quarter the way that they was. But it's not like it was just Dirk giving it to him. Like when people like Dirk.
That wasn't Dirk. Dirk had a squad. They had a lot of guys.
No, I'm talking about like closing time though. It's I was watching the fourth quarters of those games, and I'm like, why is Sean Marion and Jason Terry balling on these? It's okay if Dirk balls on you. It's Dirk.
No. The part that got me is when Jason Terry was posting up LeBron. Now that was weird. That was weird. That shouldn't have happened.
This is what I mean. Situationally, some things should have occurred. It's like, well, Jason Kidd was running that offense. LeBron's all first team defense and about 4 or 5 inches taller than Jason Kidd. I'm gonna need you to guard Jason Kidd in the fourth quarter.
Well, a lot of that comes down to coaching too. You know,
Spo wasn't ready either.
Yeah, Spo wasn't ready either. Andrew Williams and Spo's a great coach now. Yes. Andrew Williams with the super chat says Shaq was the man because he was older than Kobe. Kobe was 18 years old. LeBron would have been the second guy playing with Shaq too. Show Kobe the respect he deserves.
First of all, Kobe wasn't no damn 18 years old when they was winning their championships. I was in Cali when that was happening. He was in his 20s.
How old was he?
Kobe came out when he was 17, 18. You're talking about 22, 23, 24-year-old Kobe. The rings happened at 22, 23, and 24.
Right.
And you want to know what? It's like, age doesn't have anything to do with that because Magic Johnson killed that shit when he won NBA championship and finals MVP as a rookie. You got it or you don't.
LP with the super chat says, that was his role on the team. He said role, R-O-L-L. He meant role, R-O-L-E. Role on the team, Coop. It was made by to free KD up. Steph got a better winning percentage over LeBron than KD and still
that's mostly because of KD.
And still proven with less talent around him than KD has. One is 7 inches, 7 foot, while the other one is 6'2", by the way.
Now, I love the way LP always takes up for Steph. Now, LP, I saw you in the garden. Tell us exactly where you live again. Right. Right. LP's up in NoCal. He's up in the Bay. So he always takes up for Steph. I hate to call you out, LP. You're just not being objective because I know where you're from because I met you and your girl. Lovely woman, by the way. Very nice. You're fortunate to have her. But the facts of the matter is that you campaign for Steph because of where you're from and where you live, fam. And it's just not the reality of the matter. Because if Steph was that dude, would have never had to call KD, and he would have a finals MVP while KD was there.
It's only so much you could do at 6'2" anyway. You know what I mean?
6'3".
Or 6'3" or whatever. Especially if you're more of a perimeter guy, right? Like now, if you're a 6'2", 6'3" guy that's banging like Wade or something and playing big like that, now that's different. And even that takes a lot of heavy lifting. But the game that Steph has, it's only so much you can do. And when your legs are gone, and your whole, I mean, he has the crossover and he has the, he's a pretty good finisher at the basket too, but I wouldn't say that, he's top 5 in the position of that. He's just the greatest shooter of all time. Straight up. But that doesn't make you better than LeBron or KD.
Okay, so this is my thing with Steph. You know who Isaiah Thomas is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Steph have one finals game the way Isaiah played on a fucking broke ankle pretty much? Have you ever seen... No, wait.
He gave us a marquee game, or was it last finals he was in? Because I kept asking for it.
Have you ever seen Steph have a game like Allen Iverson had against Shaq and Kobe in game 1 of the finals?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about with Steph when I talk about Steph. It's like, no, if you're that dude, we would have a game or a memory, a finals game or memory that we could go to and be like, no, he that dude. He literally doesn't have one game like that, Mike. Can you name the game? Name the game where you're like, man, in the finals where you walked off the court, it's like Steph that dude. No.
He had a game like that against Boston, but that was about it.
KD, when KD was there, it was like damn near like, oh, thank God they got KD. They be getting their ass whooped right now.
Yeah, Anthony, and when KD went down,
what happened
Toronto
with KD?
won.
Hold on. Who did Kawhi Leonard have on that team?
Right.
If Steph,
because really, is Steph better than Kawhi? Then, if you know what I mean, like I'm just straight saying, up
because it was more of a straight up matchup. Because Clay got hurt. How about this? When Clay got hurt, it was like, okay, if you're that dude, it's just Kawhi over there. It's not LeBron. It's not KD. It's not Bird. It's not Magic. It's not Mike. It's not Kobe. It's not Shaq. It's Kawhi. You couldn't beat Kawhi.
KD went out there and played a game he shouldn't have played and got hurt even more because they needed him so much. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That brings me back to this next thing when everybody talks about this Steph stuff. If Steph's that dude, why did they rush KD back?
Exactly.
Because he wasn't that dude. They rushed the guy that they knew that their real championships hopes rested on back.
Straight up.
That
happened.
It's a fact.
Anthony with the super chat says Dallas ball IQ was much higher than Miami's. They just had much more material to work with. But anytime you got Jason Kidd, that's probably going to happen. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, Mike, I'm a Heat fan, so you can't tell me Dallas was better than us. They weren't. Yeah. We were better. If LeBron plays normal, we win, Mike.
No, LeBron didn't even have to play normal. He just had to play average. Because I think what gets lost in the Dallas series is how great Bosh and Wade played in the series. Like, Bosh and Wade came to play. People are like, why is Chris Bosh crying? It's like, oh, I've never seen Chris Bosh play that well in the playoffs. That's why.
Let's get to the music. AZ got an album coming out. AZ has 3 songs out. What are your expectations for AZ in this new project? And what are you thinking about the 2 songs so far?
There's 3 of them.
I meant to say 3. I said 3 initially.
I didn't find them to be Do or Die 2 level.
Mm-hmm.
But AZ is also wildly consistent. And I think a lot of the times for him, it's just about how he puts it together in terms of making it digestible for other people.
Right.
And when we talk about the independent artist game, I think he's one of those guys that really doesn't get enough credit because AZ's been independent for a minute, Mike.
Yeah.
I feel like AZ was going independent when I was leaving Greensboro 20 years ago.
I feel like this was early 2000s.
That's what I mean. Do you remember when he was doing Problems and all those records and stuff? Those were independent records, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
That was, Mike, that was 2002, 2002, right?
The format, I think, just celebrated maybe 17 years or something like that.
AWOL. And all that. No, those are independent releases. And so I think what's been lost in the shuffle about his career and his greatness is the fact that he really has been one of the forefathers of the independent game working for a rap artist like him.
I would love for somebody to talk to him about that.
I would love for us to talk to
get an interview. We need to get an interview with AZ.
Would love to
talk about his independent grind because, a lot of the things that artists are getting hurrah for now, when you talk about the Ransoms of the world,
Griselda,
you know what I mean? Yeah, all of this. AZ was doing this a while back.
Yeah, AZ was independent long before these guys was ever even thinking about independence.
And shout out to Tech Nine too, but Tech Nine's
before one of Tech Nine too.
He is, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about Tech Nine in late '90s. But what I will, he was on the anthem, Sway and Tech.
That is right.
Yeah,
that is right.
But
was he independent? Has Tech Nine always been independent?
I was gonna say
feel like
I don't
he
know.
had a deal. I feel like he might have.
I think he might have initially. But one thing I will say about AZ, which is pioneering for an individual who had a deal and then to go independent, that does make him different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nigga, A different.
Yeah.
Think about
this is in the Koch days or before that, actually.
No, around the Koch time.
Yeah. Yeah, because Koch changed the game, too, for people. But as far as this new album, though, I think this year is kind of a wide open year. Do you project this one possibly being an album of the year conversation?
No, I didn't hear that from the records, and that's what I didn't like about the records.
Okay.
There was nothing about the records that said this is about to be an album of the year contender to me. but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But shout out to A regardless. Like, he might surprise you. Like, here's another thing that I like about A too. He never does too many songs, Mike, because he knows who he is. He's a supreme lyricist. And supreme lyricists have always said this. First of all, none of these niggas need to be rapping as much as they rap. They need to scale this shit back. It's ADD microwave culture. But A's joints is usually 11 to 14 tracks, and you ain't going to get much more. And I love that. I told you, I hate hearing rappers rap for more than 13, 14 songs. Save that shit.
Shout out to the people in the chat that said Tech Nine was signed to Quest, Quincy Jones's label. I do remember that.
Unless you're Tupac, Mike. You want to know something interesting I realized today? All Eyes on Me is 27 songs, Mike. There's no interludes. There's no skits. And the shortest song, Mike, is Shorty Wanna Be a Thug, and it's 3 minutes and 52 seconds.
It's a lot of verses on the album.
So when we're talking about like quality material, actually, it's like it made me look at All Eyes on Me totally differently in the sense that it's like, man, he recorded a lot of material for this album. Like, so let's go to Life After Death. No, that's 22 records, Mike.
Still a lot, but yeah.
It's 5 less songs, and then it makes me say, well, if we take the 5 weakest songs, because we always say Life After Death is better than All Eyes on Me, I don't know if I believe that anymore, because it's like, well, if we take the 22 best songs from All Eyes on Me, and the 22 best, and then Life After Death, it's like, oh no, Mike, oh no.
Well, people want us to put a date on our station head.
You can't see me, Shorty Wanna Be a Thug, picture me rolling.
Well, we're gonna see in the station head. Well, I'm on the opposite side of that. LP with the super chat says he dropped 43 at the Garden, down 2-1. Never had a 10-point game in the finals like IT either. KD went out and they beat Houston and swept the Blazers.
Fair. Who did he do it against? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
Another inexperienced squad.
But when he had Kawhi, he couldn't do it. But when he had LeBron,
Kawhi has championship experience.
All I'm just saying is I call Steph's resume what it is. It's an all-time great resume. It's not a top 10 resume. That's really what I'm saying.
I mean, he's the greatest shooter of all time.
Long distance.
3-point shooter.
Yeah, he's the greatest long-distance shooter ever.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's the most gifted shooter ever, but 3-point shooter,
no, he's
that's
the best
proven.
Long-distance shooter ever.
Yeah, okay. I give you that.
But what does mid-range game look like, Mike? Is he as consistent with his mid-range games as a guy like, forget KD, is he as consistent mid-range as a Bernard King or a Kobe or a Mike? The answer is no.
The man shoots from the bleachers, man. It's crazy.
So does KD.
But yes. No, he literally does it like before.
Oh, like the practice shot.
It's crazy.
That's what I mean. He's the best long distance.
Even when he does that,
he's the best long distance shooter ever. I'm not
it's
taking
miraculous.
That away from him.
It's like he's a magician or something out there, man.
But he's not better than Magic. He's not better than Isaiah.
Oh, it's a point guard now.
No.
As a player, I'd pick Isaiah over him, but being objective, I could say that I would think in a vacuum, he's better than Isaiah. But he's not a better basketball player than Magic Johnson.
That's the same thing that I tell you. It's like, oh no, if we walk out onto a field, I'm probably going to pick Randy Moss over Jerry Rice. But the numbers say that Jerry Rice is better. And that's what Steph has over Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody that really played no ball. Look here. If you pick Steph and I pick Isaiah, I'm going to beat your ass, Mike. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I think in the series,
because Isaiah going to give it to Steph. Yeah. He going to
We saw what happened with Kyrie. It to him. So,
if Kyrie's giving it to Steph, what do you think Isaiah's going to do, Mike?
Right.
Because Isaiah's a different type of killer. People don't understand Isaiah's a killer.
Oh, yeah. Straight up.
Cold-blooded. He's coming for blood.
They were beating Michael Jordan's team. So, yes.
And Larry Bird's teams. And Magic Johnson's teams.
Yeah, it's a killer.
He's a killer. Cold-blooded one.
R.I.P. to C-Night from the Dove Shack, man.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate news. Summertime in the LBC is always going to be a summertime classic. I think that's one of those forgotten records. I remember when that came out, man. That was, I had that shit on tape. It was on the show soundtrack, too. But that's one of those records that you can just play over and over and over again. They don't play that song as much anymore, and they should.
I still play it.
I do, too, but I'm just saying, like, hearing it out randomly.
It made me think, because that's a great song.
It is.
Where does the show soundtrack rank all time, Mike?
We just did a post on the Facebook page about soundtracks, and I didn't include the show soundtrack because I feel like the show soundtrack is kind of cheating. It has songs from other shit on there too.
Like what?
Like Biggie's "Me and My Bitch" and
But
all
it's over
that
the
stuff.
Computer Love beat live.
It is.
I happen to love "Me and My Bitch" over the Computer Love beat.
No,
It's
it's
special
dope.
shit.
It's dope. Listen, you know, two of my favorite songs, period, are on the show soundtrack.
Everyday Thing.
Everyday Thing and How High. Oh man.
You want to know what? I have been on my Tupac kick. So, My Block from the show soundtrack.
That's on there too.
It is. I was thinking about when he's on America's Most Wanted. They wonder how I live with 5 shots. Niggas is hard to kill on my block. Right. That's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that song is like that. So think about it. That soundtrack has My Block by Tupac, Me and My Bitch by Biggie live over the Computer Love beat, Everyday Thing by Bone, Summertime in the LBC by the Dove Shack.
It hits
How High.
every coast.
Like,
it's everywhere.
Think about that. Like, Mike, I want you to just name a soundtrack off the top of your head. They got 5 songs that good because it's like
because we always go to the Above the Rim soundtrack and say it's the best hip hop soundtrack of all time. But the Above the Rim soundtrack doesn't have.
It's got Afro Puffs.
It's got Afro
and pour
Puffs.
out a little liquor.
Pour out a little liquor. It actually has that Sadie song too. That
Sweet Sable.
Yeah, Sweet Sable song.
And it's got Part Time Lover by H-Town. But those
and
are
it's
R&B
got
records.
anything for SWV.
Those are R&B records. The thing with the Above
Big
the Rim
Pimpin's on there too, right?
Yes. The thing with the Above the Rim soundtrack is that outside of Pour Out a Little Liquor and Afro Puffs, the highlights of the Above the Rim soundtrack are actually R&B records.
They're saying go read them out. Sure. You want to pull up the show soundtrack? You know what? I'll do that. Because I know you got your tablet up there. Let's see. The show soundtrack.
People talking crazy.
And, what about the 8 Mile soundtrack, guys?
Stop that.
Hi,
I have been
guys.
doing the Eminem dig, though. I'm going to have an Eminem. I'm gonna have
Are you ready for an Eminem conversation?
I'm going to have an Eminem top 20 list for you, Mike, real soon.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's see. We got...
You're going to stop hating.
We got Live performed by Onyx. Actually, no, it starts off with Hip Hop Is with Kid Creole, Kid Capri, Ecstasy. And you got Live with Onyx. Then you got Move On, Slick Rick, My Block, Tupac.
Yes, track 4.
What's Up, Star, Sugar. Headbanger Boogie, Method Man.
I actually like that record.
That shit was hard. How High. The crown jewel of this album, in my opinion. That's saying a lot with Everyday Thing there. Method Man and Redman. You got Everyday Thing, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Every Day It Rains, Mary J. Blige. Forgot about that.
That was pretty solid.
It's All I Had, performed by Biggie. Old School, Size of K's. Domino's in the House, Domino.
Domino shit was dope, too.
I fuck with Domino. He's another guy we don't talk about enough. Summertime in the LBC, Dove Shack. Let's see. So What You Saying, South Central Cartel. It kind of drops off here, though, Coop.
I'm talking about the highlights.
The highlights are big.
I think immediately, of course, Above the Rim, Belly comes to mind, of course. Belly might be the winner, Mike.
You think Belly's the winner?
Because
I will tell you this, man.
Belly
Tommy's Theme is my favorite song on that album.
Wow, that's crazy. That's not even in my top 5
That
on that album.
Insane.
Belly is crazy. Think about it. Grand finale. Here Comes the Boom with Sean Paul and DMX. Crew Love, which was the first time I heard Siegel. Crew Love's probably my favorite joint on there because that was the first time I heard Siegel, and I was like, who's that guy? I was like, he's better than almost everybody else on this album. I was like, and I know everybody else on this album. I'm like, that guy's better than everybody else on this album, not named Nas or Jay-Z or DMX right now. That's how I felt after listening to like Siegel on there. Tommy's Theme is on there. Ooh, one of Noriega's best songs, Sometimes, is on there.
Sometimes it's dope.
Sometimes it's dope.
When you said Nori, I thought about the Any Given Sunday soundtrack. That shit
I Want to Live with Bravehearts. That's one of Nature. That's Nature's second best verse to me, outside of Banned from TV. It's got a lot of shit on the Belly soundtrack's got a lot of shit on it, Mike. Belly soundtrack's pretty great.
Oh, let's look at this soundtrack, the Above the Rim soundtrack, right?
Soul in the Hole, Sunset Park come to mind because Sunset Park had Motherless Child, We Don't Want It with Junior Mafia. They had some shit on there too.
Bring the soundtracks back.
High School High.
High
High School High is a great soundtrack. But Belly's the one, because Belly's the one where it's like, nah, this shit
You
bangs.
talking about hip hop? Okay. Well, this album, as an album, I don't know, man.
Maybe
This
we'll
Above
listen
the
to Belly.
Rim is, you got anything with
Can
SWV.
beat you with Belly.
You got Old Time's Sake, Sweet Sable. You got Part Time Lover, H-Town. Now, granted, these are 3 R&B records, but all 3 of these records were hits. Anything SWV, Old Time's Sake, Sweet Sable, Part Time Lover, H-Town, Big Pimpin', Dog Pound, Nate Dogg, Snoop. I love that record, actually.
No, I'm gonna have to take Belly, Mike. So.
Didn't Mean to Turn You On. I remember that.
These are all R&B records.
Yeah, Second to None, Doggy Style. You ain't like that record. Then you got Regulate. Regulate Warren G.
Okay, Regulate.
And then Pour Out a Little Liquor.
And then Afro Puffs.
Yeah,
Do they come in order?
Strong.
Do they come in order? They come in order, don't they?
It's Regulate, Pour Out a Little Liquor, Gonna Give It to You, and then it's Afro Puffs. Yeah.
That's the strongest. That might be the strongest stretch of any soundtrack, but here's the reality matter. If we're talking best hip-hop soundtrack.
Okay.
If we're talking best
read off the Belly soundtrack real quick.
No Way In, No Way Out, lady. But Mike, here's where it starts rolling and it never stops rolling. Mike, number 2 is Devil's Pie by D'Angelo.
That's a great one. The Great White Hype had some joints on it.
Mike, Grand Finale, DMX, Ja Rule, Method Man, and Nas. Never Dream You'd Leave, Jerome, the Stevie remake. What About Sparkle, Two Sides, Hot Toddy. Moving Out with Maya, featuring Raekwon. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Top Shotter, DMX and Sean Paul and Mr. Vegas. Story to Tell, Ja Rule. Crew Love, Jay-Z, Bleak, and Beans. Sometimes, Noriega. We Can Get It On, Drag On. The Militia, Gangstar. The Militia remix.
I forgot that was on
The
there.
Militia remix with Dub C and Rakim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that was on there.
Windpipe with Wu-Tang Clan.
I love Windpipe.
Old Dirty Bastard strikes again, Mike. You acting like we don't care. It's great.
I love Windpipe.
Pre-game featuring Jay-Z and Sauce Money. Tommy's Theme. Some Niggas I Want to Live. No, Mike. Like 1, 2,
we
3,
don't.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, Belly
9.
soundtrack.
Belly soundtrack has 10 great songs on it, Mike. Listen to the 10 great songs. Devil's Pie, Grand Finale, Top Shotter, Story to Tell, Crew Love, Sometimes, The Militia, Windpipe, Tommy's Theme, and I Want to Live. No soundtrack's got 10 great songs like
what
that.
I will give you, it is the most hip-hop soundtrack. The best hip-hop soundtrack.
You can't give me one with 10
because
songs
it's not
like that.
because like New Jersey Drive had Can't You See with Total. Like,
and Benz or a Beamer, but that's it after that.
But I'm saying,
shut
like,
them down. Shut them down with L.I. Scratch. That shit was dope.
awesome. Yeah, I was just going to say, though, but Can't You See is an R&B record. You know what I mean? Like, and we saw that a lot with the soundtracks, and I get it. You got to sell the soundtrack. And back then, one thing that Suge said in his interview on his podcast that I thought was interesting, and I'm going to get to the Suge thing in a second, but he said when they came in the game, hip-hop was 5% of urban radio. And then he said it moved to 10%. And I'm like, I remember that. You wasn't really hearing hip-hop on the radio like that. And so these soundtracks, they had R&B records on them because they had to get radio play.
Yeah. How about this? Ill Scratch, Shut Them Down, and Benz or a Beamer wasn't getting played outside of Rap City. Can't You See was everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, look at the Above the Rim soundtrack, which was on Death Row.
I mean,
you see what Suge had to do? You got Anything with SWV. You got
Mike.
Part-Time Lover with H-Town. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, truthfully, Mike, even in 98, with all these great records that I named on Belly, Devil's Pie was the one that got the most play.
Yeah. I mean, hip-hop is taking over R&B in its radio space, unfortunately, but it's so crazy that it happened so fast.
Mike, I'm sorry, like The Militia with WC and Rakim and Windpipe, Tommy's Theme.
Yeah, I'm going to go listen to that tonight.
I Want to Live.
Is Know the Ledge the greatest soundtrack song in hip-hop history? Let's narrow it down to songs, because Regulate is high.
It's not better than Know the Ledge. I'm sorry. It's more notable. It's not better.
I agree with you.
Here's what Above the Rim has. 2 of the best rap songs ever come out of a soundtrack come off Above the Rim, and that's Pour Out a Little Liquor and Regulate. Neither one of them are...
And Pain's not even on that soundtrack.
Yeah. Know the Ledge is just... That's...
Sip the Juice. I got enough to go around.
Like, how about
place
this?
Uptown.
How about this? That's the lasting image of him as the greatest MC of all time for that era. Because for everything that he had did up to that point, when he went and did that, it was like, well, we already knew it, but there's just some more evidence.
Nobody's fucking with Rakim, man.
No.
Like, I literally will say Rakim in that time period where he dominated and he was who he was. It's hard pressed to find anybody who's ever done it at any period that I could say could fuck with that guy on the mic. And this is the 80s. Like things have
Well, this is
advanced so
1991
much.
now, but I hear you.
But you know what I mean? I'm talking about like 87 to like that 91. Like that guy right there, guys in the 2000s, in the 2010s, the 90s couldn't fuck with that guy right there.
Yeah, most of the guys.
In my opinion. You know what I mean?
Okay, so it's like even when we're having these conversations about dudes right now, it's like, how about this? My problem with, and it's not really a problem. My problem with somebody like a Drake, a Wayne, a Kendrick, a Cole, and their all-time greatness, nigga, you don't have no Know the Ledge. And think about it. He's got other records like that.
You're similar. Yeah, I mean, your problem is similar to my problem because I always look at it as, okay, all these guys have great albums, have great songs, classic songs, whatever. Then it just comes down to who do I think can out-rap the next guy? And in my opinion, I say this respectfully, and I'm not saying this as an old head.
None
Kendrick,
of those four guys we named.
J. Cole, or Drake can't even rap in the arena of a Rakim. Now,
arena, yes.
Not to me. I think very, very highly of Rakim's skill set. Now, as highly as I think of Jay, I think Jay can rap with Rakim. Is he Rakim lyrically to me? No, he's not. But it's not crazy to say that he can rap with him. Those other guys, to me.
He has rapped with him, and he had to try extremely, extremely hard to do it.
And Rakim didn't at all.
Well, he's not going to. He's the God.
LP with the super chat says, Pain is the best hip-hop song for a soundtrack. All right. What all comes into...
I prefer Pour Out a Little Liquor to Pain, but everybody likes Pain more, and I get why.
I'm going to show some Atlanta bias. What if I made a case for Benz or Beamer? With it being based on the soundtrack and based on the actual film.
I think you're talking execution.
Yeah, everything. Like, because Outkast did that on the Players Ball thing when they had to get on the Christmas album. You got an assignment? Of course. But I'm just saying, you have an assignment and you execute on it. You ask a rap duo straight out of high school to make a Christmas song, and they came with Players Ball, right? You tell them, like, you know, that Benz or Beamer is kind of Babyface-like. Where Babyface did, Tony Braxton's Love Should Have Brought You Home on the Boomerang soundtrack, where it damn near was scene for scene what Halle and Eddie were going through.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He had to see the movie to write Love Should Have Brought You Home. It's actually the line in the film. And so Benz or Beamer, to me, is like, okay, you guys see the film? This is what the film's about. Make a song. And they made a song about carjacking. And how many times do we really get that on hip-hop soundtracks as well?
Something that fits the actual theme.
Right.
Well, we just talked about the two main records that do. That would be Know the Ledge and Benz or Beamer.
Exactly.
Those are the records.
Yeah. Know the Ledge was definitely about Juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's essentially playing Bishop on Know the Ledge.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's just one of my favorite moments because for me, Know the Ledge is also the transitional moment. It's like Rakim's doing a song about Tupac's character.
Yeah.
We're transitioning into the next era.
I mean, the ledge is that ending part where, you know what I'm saying?
That's why he called it Know the Ledge. Because of how the movie ends.
Yeah, I have to give
I get Know the Ledge.
Yeah, I have to give soundtrack songs like that extra points.
Right.
If we're talking about the greatest soundtrack songs ever.
See, that's why Pour Out a Little Liquor does make sense over all the other songs on Above the Rim if you actually watch the movie.
Mm-hmm, it does.
It fits the context of what's going on between Birdie and his brother, and them losing their brother and how they lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the other ones are just dope songs. You know what I mean? Which is great
Pour
too.
Out a Little Liquor actually fits with the theme and the motif of what's going on between the brothers on the actual album. I mean, on the actual movie. Correct.
Christopher Hogan with the super chat says Menace to Society soundtrack was dope too. Yeah, it was. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, fellas, why isn't American Gangster the official soundtrack for American Gangster movie? Should we count that as a soundtrack?
It's not a soundtrack.
If not, why?
Because
it wasn't sanctioned by the production.
Because this is some Jay shit. And he literally said it. Oh, I saw the movie and got inspired because I felt like, relatable to it because of my life and Frank Lucas's life. It's like, so what you're saying is that nobody reached out to you and asked you to do that, but you just chose to do it yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why it's not a soundtrack.
Attaching himself to a film.
Nah,
and you know
nigga,
what?
Warner Brothers called Prince to do Batman.
Well,
no, it ain't no damn soundtrack.
Jay has always used the soundtrack game. We've talked about this on the show before. It's a very smart play because you know you're going to get 2 budgets. You know what I mean? He did it with Can
I get a?
No, I was just going to say the first
Streets
single.
is watching?
No, the first single. Ain't No Nigga.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
He started with that.
Nutty Professor.
Nutty
right?
Professor, yeah.
Right.
Jay knows that, you know what, if I get on these soundtracks, they're gonna pay for the promotion, they're gonna pay for the video, and it's gonna get doubly promoted. And he did the same thing on Can I Get Her?
You know, I thought about something.
Who you with on the soundtrack too?
It is Sprung.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never sprung, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's smart.
He is.
He
knows how to place
understands.
himself.
Yeah.
He understands. He's a businessman. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Right.
Yeah.
You know, Jay's also subtle with how he lets you into his personal life. Like, Hey Poppy came on the other day, and it's
That was the worst.
I used to switch chicks every day. Had niggas mad for real. Like, I wish he was gay because they knew sooner or later I was getting with Jay. Just a matter of time. But I was thinking about it. I was like, man, what made him call the song Hey Poppy? But then you think about who he's dating around the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Rosie Perez. A spade is a spade. No. Like,
I thought he was dating Rosario Dawson.
correct.
Okay. Cool.
Correct. So it's like, when I'm looking at it, it's like, there is some art imitating life with Jay that we don't give him credit for because he doesn't really speak on it. But if you go match up the timelines to some of the personal stuff, you know what I'm saying?
So even if they don't understand the flow, they
They
understand.
understand the dough. Right.
LP with the super chat
She's
says,
not a big rap fan.
Mm.
That's why I'm saying that record's really actually about her. Even if they don't understand flow, they understand the dough.
She's still
My
with Cory
lady's
Booker?
Nah, I don't be in people business like that.
LP with the super
It's none of
chat
my
says,
business.
Nas Morales, he did some on I Gave You Power-ish. Nas Morales. Oh, talking about the Spider-Man joint. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
He said he did some I Gave You Power-ish. Yeah, I mean, I like it though. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, we all know Rakim is an incredible lyricist, but to act like Cole can't rap in the arena as him, come on, Mike. Always appreciate hearing y'all fellas. Appreciate the love too. I mean, tell me, and I know you're big on Cole, and maybe I'm just off base here, right? Maybe I'm just being an old nigga about it. But tell me that when you hear Rakim rhyming on Let the Rhythm Hit Him, and Cole's in that chamber, I not to me. It's not a lot of people who are.
Lyrically,
I don't even think people like Raekwon are. And you know how highly I think of Raekwon. I just think that Rakim is somewhere else, man.
neither is Ghost.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about where Rakim is on Let the Rhythm Hit Him, like,
nobody's rapping like that.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, no, that's like the Jizz on Liquid Swords.
Exactly.
Nas on It Was Written.
I've said that
Black
on the
Thought
show.
on Illadelph
Exactly.
Half-Life. It's like, no. There's only a handful of guys at certain points of times in their careers where they're rapping like that. But also, let's be respectful to those other guys too and understand it's like, nah. And I'm saying this seriously. Rakim, on Let the Rhythm Hit Him, just bar-wise, he hadn't rapped like that before either, Mike.
No.
That's saying a lot.
He kept progressing, though.
That's
it was
saying
like,
a lot.
In 87,
like the way
nobody had rapped like that before,
How
and then
about
he
this?
elevated it.
It's like
and then
this.
he elevated again.
Let the Rhythm Hit Him is like taking the most lyrical moments from the first 2 albums and getting a whole album of those most lyrical moments.
Mm-hmm. No Omega is insane.
Not saying the songs are better, and this is where lyricism does come into play because it's like, oh no, Let the Rhythm Hit Him lyrically, the song better than Microphone Fiend. The song Microphone Fiend better than Let the Rhythm Hit Him though.
Of course.
You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, it was written thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Let the Rhythm Hit Him is his. It was written lyrically.
It's like Lyrics of Fury, lyrically better than Eric B as president. Not a better song.
No.
Right. And so I think the pinnacle might be the actual Follow the Leader record. Because it's like, oh no.
It's everything.
That's everything.
Dun, 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 dun,
that's the beat,
dun,
that's
dun,
the flow,
dun,
that's the song. Like people still doing the WAP to that shit.
Yeah.
But bar wise, it's like, oh, who other than Kane right now is fucking with him? Like for me, that's the record that made G-Rap step his game up. Follow the Leader is the record where it's like when you hear G-Rap after Follow the Leader, it's like, oh no,
things change.
G is different. G is different on the mic after Follow the Leader because he's like, oh no, this nigga not about the summit because you have to understand they're rolling with some of the same street crews and they know each other. He like, oh no, this nigga Raw not about the fucking G went back in and perfected his shit after Follow the Leader. Think about how great Follow the Leader is that it makes somebody like Cool G Rap go back in and step their game up.
I mean, I could only imagine hearing that for the first time. Like, everybody got to step their game up.
It's like, man, he not about to see. This is where I like the competition part of things, and this is why I like G like that. It's like, no, G is competitive. He's like, no, he not about to do me like that. He about to do y'all like that. I'm about to put myself in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, and the greats have to acknowledge that too. I mean, I just saw a video.
G Rap's not acknowledging that shit.
But no, you're acknowledging that through your work though.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when you got to go work on something. Even Michael Jordan knew when he had to go beef up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
had to go gain 15 pounds.
Exactly. But yeah, KRS-One was out here saying that, you know, Nas is the greatest.
Been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Talking about Illmatic, he was going down the line, and you know how animated KRS gets. And I don't think I've ever, well, maybe in recent times, I've heard KRS kind of admit that certain people are, you know, greats. But when we were coming up, it's like Cannabis said, as arrogant as KRS is, it's like KRS was number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So understand this: KRS-One and Rakim both have Illmatic as top 5 hip hop albums ever.
That means
what
a lot.
does that tell you?
Shout out to the Fresh Out Hip Hop Podcast, man. They showing love in the chat right now. Reggie with the super chat says, Coop, Mike, In Too Deep soundtrack is the one. Let me go back and listen to that.
That's the God Sham God, LL. Pool stick up the ass, all that.
Oh, you talking about God? Yeah. That was one of the most vicious villains in
what
hip hop movie history.
I feel like there's a CNN Locks record on there that I really like. Blood in Your Mouth or something like that. Yeah, that's in there. That soundtrack, it's good. It ain't like that. Keys to the Range by Jagged Edge is the biggest song on there. Yeah,
R&B once again.
Keys to the Range is on In Too Deep. I remember that.
R&B again. Tater Tots with the super chat says, Rakim can't rap with G-Rap, and Fast Life is the top 5 90s Nas feature. You want to get to these Nas features, or we want to have this heavy D conversation real quick?
Either way, we were talking Rakim. I'm cool.
Let's go to the Nas feature since somebody brought it up.
I'm glad that they brought it up. Guess what number 5 is? It's Fast Life.
Okay, hold on. We got to do an introduction to this. All right, top 5 Nas features.
Now, we were supposed to do this on the other show because I just wanted to highlight the difference. When you're sitting up here trying to compare Kiss to Nas, it's like, no, there's a difference between. And so I have a tie at number 4, but number 5 is Fast Life with Cool G Rap and Nas. And I'm going to tell you
want to
why.
explain? All right, yeah.
Nas is the first guy to take one of those older guys and kind of bring them into the modern era.
It's true.
Who else was doing records with the...
Why didn't that happen more?
That's what I mean. It's like a nice little template was set, but these dudes are competitive. They're also like low-key haters and very emotional, like I've been saying. But Fast Life is special, not only because you're getting Nas and G Rap, but because they actually delivered. But you also see, style-wise, where the game had changed. You know what I'm saying? And just for me, when he's like, well, and I don't say this too often, there is some Rakim and Nas's flow on Fast Life. So it's almost like the closest thing you're going to get to the Rakim and G-Rap back and forth. Yo, I got guns from Italy, smoke trees considerably. Like, it's the way he's pacing out the bars, the pacing and the rhythmic timing of the bars is very Rakim-ish on there, you know? And it's kind of funny because he's somebody that at that point in his career where he rapped more style and speed-wise like a G-Rap than Rakim.
I think he
slowed it down on the record with G-Rap. And so
he had all of them in him.
Yeah, I told you he's where
Captain Planet.
He's Rakim poetically. He's G-Rap rhetoric wise. KRS-One consciously.
Where does the flow come from? The flow is kind of a combination of G-Rap and Rakim.
It is. That's what I mean. Yeah. He's Rakim and G-Rap put together with Rakim's. I mean, with KRS-One's frame of mind, though. So it's like he addresses the socioeconomic and political issues and the plight of the black people the way KRS does, but he's got a grimy mind like Cool G Rap. But poetically, he's gifted like Rakim. He's the GOAT.
And with Kane and LL's marketability. He has all those things.
Looks matter. Looks matter in all across the board.
All forms of entertainment.
Right. I'm going to surprise you with my tie at number 4. He's the greatest storyteller of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, first of all, his most underrated story is a feature, and that's Body in the Trunk with Noriega.
Mm.
Nobody talks about Body in the Trunk. Body in the Trunk is beautiful. I have that at a tie with Mo Money, Mo Murder, Mo Homicide.
Okay, I think that's a good tie to have.
Number 3, I'm going to let you guess, Mike, because you know what 1 and 2 are. So I'm going to let you guess what number 3 is. Everybody knows 1 and 2.
It's so many. It's mine. Mobb Deep.
Right group, wrong song.
Okay.
I for an I.
Okay.
I got I for an I. It's Mine is more flashy.
Mm-hmm.
I for an
His
I.
presence was there on It's Mine.
It was. It's like, oh, we got a superstar to rap with us. It's like, oh no, that's the same nigga.
Clear the air, right?
Right. But Mike, that I for an I verse is probably his most underrated feature verse. But if you listen to what he's saying, a drug dealer's dream, stash cream, keys on a triple beam, 500 SL gleam, 95 nickel gleam, condominium, thug dressed like a gentleman, tailor-made ostrich Chanel for my women friend, murdering, numbers on your head while I'm burglaring, shanking, swerving. Shout out to all my niggas swerving in New York metropolis. The bridge brings apocalypse. You let the clouds build like the holy beast is watching us. Madman, my sanity is going like an hourglass. Gun inside my bad hand, I slice trying to bag grams. I got hoes that used to milk you. Niggas who could have killed you is down with my ill crew of psychos. Nas Escobar moving on your weak production, pumping corruption. In the third world, we just bust them. That shit's crazy, Mike.
It is crazy. And I feel like Raekwon and Prodigy elevate him too. Like when he knows Ray's around specifically, Nas gets elevated even more.
First of all,
Ghost too.
I've always told people this. It's like, well, the thing that's keeping Prodigy and Raekwon being the main guys in New York, like 94, 95, is Nas.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about how he sounds when they're rapping next to each other. It's like, no, those guys are great. That guy's different. Even when you stand him next to them in prime time.
Yeah.
He's been showing up in prime time against the best for a while.
Oh, yeah. And it's not even like he's trying, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
this is his style.
Yeah, it's just how I rap.
Yeah, this is how he raps. Like, how about this? I actually think that they try to do what he does too often when they rap together. And I actually think Raekwon's verse on I for an I is right there with Nas's verse. That's their best collab together. That's the verse that made me want to hear them more, because I'm like, oh, Ray knows he lyrically can't piece that together like that because that's not his style. So he bought the energy in the streets and like fucking real. Mahalia sing a tale, but the real we still, he brings that.
Let me see what these super chats are saying about this top 5. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, also just want to say, no one in their right mind will say that Cole is better lyrically than Rakim, but I admit that Cole has come a long way with his lyricism. I appreciate the progress he has done as a rap fan. Yeah, need that album.
When you talk Rakim, you have to understand a lot of people aren't going to register lyrically.
I mean, like I told you before, I just see like a room with maybe 5 people that can really legitimately rhyme with Rakim, in my mind.
Lyrically speaking, yes.
Yeah. And that takes the Black Thought that was on Funk Flex. It takes stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was written Nas, Liquid Swords, Jizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Those guys can like rap with him, but it's like,
as much as I love Most, and I feel like Mos Def is probably the most naturally talented MC I've ever heard, I can't even say that he could. You know what I mean? The voice.
All respect due.
And I love Mos Def. I love Mos Def probably more than anybody I know.
I'm sorry.
Super talented lyricist.
Most don't have one let the rhythm hit a moment. Where you're just like from end to end for song to song.
From end to end, no.
Mathematics is the
he
closest
has those
to me.
16 moments.
Right.
Yeah, he has those respiration moments.
Yeah.
Even hurricane moments.
Even him and Talib on Peppers, it's like, oh no, he's crazy on there.
You know what? The closest moment, in my opinion, with Most on that, and it's not really recent, but it's more recent than his other stuff, is Priority. Okay. But it's short, though. You know what I mean? It's like one of the one verses again.
This is what I mean. It's like, how about this? This is what I mean. For a verse, like the What's Beef verse is one of the best verses of all time to me. Beef is not what Jay said to Nas.
Beef is when the working class can't find jobs.
Yes. Beef is the Palestine and Gaza Strip. No. When he's doing that, yeah. Understand, Let the Rhythm is like 4 verses of that.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Let the Rhythm hit him is 4 verses of that.
It's heavyweight fighting, man. To me, and I'm not saying this in any disrespectful way.
It's okay to be disrespectful.
I view Cole as more of a Floyd, where I view Rakim as like a fucking George Foreman in his prime. Like, these are big, heavyweight punches. Like, it's different.
To quote Big Daddy Kane, the right hook is like Joe Frazier's. I'm bodacious.
Yeah, it's like how we used to watch heavyweight fights when we was coming up, man. Like, it's just a different feeling than watching these lightweight fights. And it's no disrespect to the athletes, but I feel like that with the lyricism a little bit.
I think calling him Floyd is a little disrespectful. It's closer to Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray's better than Floyd.
Oh my God.
Whoop Floyd's ass, Mike. He would knock Floyd out. All that defense shit you talking, Ray like, no.
You got to catch him.
Ray can fight you for 12. How about this? This is what I'm talking about. Ray had the power, the speed, and the endurance to hit you like that round after round. Floyd ain't never fought nobody like that. It's like, no. Ray can hit your ass and throw 50 to 100 punches every round and not get tired. Are you built like that? He ain't never fought nobody like that. He would tag him by the 8th or 9th round. He would start tagging him. About 10 or 11, down he goes.
So that's what the super chat says. Number 1 is through the lights, camera, action, glamour, glitters, and gold. I unfold the scroll, plant seeds to stampede the globe.
Number
CJ
2 is
Kidd,
live at the barbecue, of course.
Oh, okay. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, had to come and wish you well wishes to you guys and everyone in the chat and having a good physical and mental health day. Bless everyone. Bless you too, brother CJ Kidd. He says, got here late. Did you guys mention the Fast Life with Cool G Rap? Yes, that was number 5.
It was number 5.
All right, so yeah, go down the top 5.
So it's going to be 5, Fast Life with Cool G Rap. Tied number 4 with Body in the Trunk with Nori and Mo Money, Mo Murder with AZ. Number 3 is Eye for an Eye. Number 2 is Live at the Barbecue, Main Source, Breaking Atoms. And number 1 is Verbal Intercourse off the Purple Tape. We all know what number 1 is. It's arguably the greatest 16 ever. Like, how about this? That's what I'm saying. Like, Nas has the 16s that Kiss has, but he's got the songs that Rakim has.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he's got the hits that, some of his other counterparts.
I'm about to say he's got the hits everybody else has except for Big and Jay and Pac.
Ethan Hill with the super chat says, can you guys speak to Tretch's greatness?
We do all the time, and we talk about how criminally underrated he is. And we actually had an episode a few months ago where I was literally talking about, it's like, man, we need to talk about this dude, Tretch. Like, OPP as a solo mission. I was listening to Hip Hop Hooray, Mike.
Killing it. That's funny. I listened to that the other day, too.
Killing it. He's killing Hip Hop
Hooray, in my personal opinion, we in Hip Hop 50, I think could legitimately be hip hop's anthem. And yes, that nigga's killing.
He's
that
killing.
You put your heart in a part of a part that spreads apart. Like, yeah, that second verse is insane.
It is.
He he came around during a time where hip hop had groups.
He's missing a solo album, Mike. I think he's missing that solo material for us to really say it's like, oh no. And I know he makes solo records for Naughty, and he's like the lead, a la Q-Tip.
Yeah,
but
it's different between him and Q-Tip though.
Tretch is better lyrically.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. KG's a big part of Naughty by Nature. Naughty by Nature's production is a big part of who they are. KG doesn't get enough
credit as a producer. Yeah. We've talked about that.
Yeah. And see, Q-Tip had to be KG and Tretch, you know what I mean? To a certain extent. And I'm not saying at any level that, Fife is Vinny or nothing like that. But
Fife's better than Vinny, but Q-Tip is not necessarily better than Tretch as an MC, but just as an overall artist.
I got you. Yeah. I'm with that. But like you said, I think that Tretch is missing that solo material. And the reason that we don't give him that pass that we somehow give Q-Tip, it's because of KG. And I think that if he had that official solo album outside of Naughty, we saw what he could do as a solo artist, you know what I mean?
Can I just tell you the truth? It's because Naughty doesn't really have a classic album. It's that all the albums are good.
Yeah, it's
Not
like their
great.
songs are bigger than the album.
It would
They
be
don't
big-
have a low end theory.
Correct. Or they don't have a midnight. Mike, how about this?
Yeah.
Respectfully, they don't even have a People's Instinctive. And you know I have that.
I love People's Instinctive,
Whatever,
but I got
Mike.
you. It's a first five Mike album.
What I'm saying is, yeah, it's not that. It's third on the totem pole of Tribe's catalog, though. Correct.
I don't know if they have a better album
They
than
don't have
Beats, Rhymes, and Life. End to end.
I like their first album better than Beats, Rhymes, and Life.
All right, though.
Yeah, but when your best album would slide into Tribe's catalog fourth, I think that might be the problem. Because their best album would be after Tribe's first 3 albums, and they were around the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
And same thing with De La. Like a lot of their contemporaries were just better album makers. They were the hit makers.
As a group, yeah. And they had the hits, and the hits are huge hits.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, with Tret's overall greatness, we would judge that higher if these were albums.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Why do you think, because we talk about De La, and we think that, I mean, most of us think that Pasanews is the best lyricist in the whole Native Tongue crew.
He is.
Why do you think that Pasanews doesn't really get that adulation as an individual MC?
The records aren't big enough.
You know, I have a theory. I think, yes, the records aren't big enough, but also between Pas and Dave, they didn't do what
Too seamless.
their group.
The
They're literally a group.
The chemistry is almost too righteous.
Exactly, because we don't really have
hard to separate.
We don't have any songs where Pas is doing
Just
his
literally going
Bonita
and getting busy.
Applebaum thing.
He doesn't.
The closest thing we
They do
have
the
to that
group
is
shit.
Stakes is High, and they both got like 2 full verses on there. So they've always shared in ways that, you know, Tribe didn't,
tell you
because
something?
Spife had Butter, right? Like they had solo stuff.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
That might be my favorite De La song, Mike.
Stakes is High?
Yeah.
That's the best they've ever rapped.
That record
Ring
is
Ring's
so,
my favorite.
That I hear you, and that's understandable if you feel
Pass
that way.
the peas.
There's something
Pass the
about
plug.
Stakes is High. It's like, man, they
Yeah.
are so special. On
Oh,
there.
no.
It's a moment.
No, that verse where Pas
when-
is talking about
Smoking
the
to-
projects. And,
Right,
yo,
smoking to escape the maze, but the problem stays. Yeah.
Yeah, no. His last verse on Stakes is I had to put rewind on that the other day. Man. I
Okay,
was
so
like,
Stakes is High is one of those. I got goosebumps right now. That's how great that record is. It's one of those records that it's hard for me not to play it about 3 or 4 times before I can move on to something else. So
It's a
I
great
don't
record.
play it because I can literally like play Stakes is High the record like all day. It's like no, just run that back. It's like that.
The Native Tongue has been officially
Officially
reinstated.
Yeah.
It's a powerful song, man.
It
It brings
is.
back great memories
It's
too,
beautiful.
man.
That's another 96 album, I believe, Mike.
It is a 96 album.
96
and
the best rap.
I
ever.
just remember watching Rap City in that year and all the Rap City countdowns and the video, everything that was being shown. And I'm not trying to sound like that and say that everything that got played was great, but it pretty much was. It wasn't no change in the
everything
channel.
was great in
man.
96.
It's like it wasn't no change
Like,
in the channel.
no. I'm gonna tell all these young niggas to get off my lawn about 96. Get
Yeah.
off my lawn. You don't even know what a rap year like that looks.
I'm trying
like,
to
Mike.
think of what the bad records that were
Mike,
on
think-
Rap City were.
Think about this, Mike. I don't even think Beat Rhymes in Life is a top 15 album in 96.
Yeah, I agree.
Think about that.
And I still loved Stressed Out. I still love.
You know how I feel about Get a Hold, Mike. That's my favorite
Get a Hold is
Q-Tip
great.
solo performance.
And what was the record that came out? Once again,
Once
I
Again is
loved
great.
Once Again. I
Once Again
love
is
and
great.
it's crazy.
Phony
man.
rappers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tribe is slightly before my time, right? So Midnight Marauders
That's
is
sick
93, right? And so
sick shit,
when
yeah.
the Stakes is not Stakes is High, when Beats, Rhymes, and Life comes out, that's when
You're-
I'm in tune. And so when Once Again comes out and I'm hearing people shitting on it, I'm like, this song is tight. But they're acting, they're acting about Midnight Marauders. They're talking about Midnight Marauders and Low End Theory and all of that shit.
And also, too, that was a 3-year break as opposed to the 2-year break.
Exactly. And they never got that much of a break from them before.
Right. And so people were expecting, think about this. As somebody that loves
Kendrick.
People's Instinctive. Well, they take 2 years off and then you get the Low End Theory. And then they take 2 years off and you get Midnight Marauders.
Actually, no. No, I think they took 1 year off between Peoples and Low End Theory.
Low End Theory is 91, right?
Yeah.
It's late 91. That's why. It's
Yeah,
more like
it's
18
91.
months. It's
And
more like
Peoples
18
is
months.
90, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. People's is 89.
No, Peoples is 90.
When did it get released?
It got released in 90.
Like
it got
when in
released
90?
April 10th in 90, I
Really?
believe. Yep.
People's Instinctive is April 10th, 90?
I think you're thinking about De La Soul is Dead. I mean, not De La Soul is Dead. Excuse me, the first one. You know what I'm talking about.
I might be confused.
Yeah, De La's debut album is 89.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Where do you guys rank Larry Holmes in his prime amongst other heavyweights in their prime?
Top 10.
Also, what about Give It Up Fast and No Love Lost OG with Shaq?"
Okay, first of all, Give It Up Fast would be third in the Mobb Deep Nas feature trilogy after Eye for an Eye and It's Mine.
Mm-hmm.
The bitches, like G Money said to his man, will ride a dick like a horse with the cowboy brand. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, Mike, you're right. April, you got the day right, Mike. You were such a groupie for these guys.
No, man, I as an admin of Page, I kind of memorized some of these.
You like the tribe ones, Mike. That's what I mean about you being a groupie. I ain't never heard
Let's see.
Mike, what day did Liquid Swords come out? And we about to cover Liquid Swords.
Liquid Swords came out November 6, 1995. Yeah.
Just checking. Low End Theory is September 24th, 1991. So 18 months, Mike.
Yeah.
Hold on, April, May, June. Yeah, almost 18
And they
months.
had to do a whole just retooling of their sound. It's really remarkable. And I know I said the other day
the sound switch from People's Instinctive to Low End Theory is one of the most astounding moves in hip hop history.
Yeah, one of the greatest production jobs, I would say, right?
Yes.
I was just speaking about Kanye's B production job.
If Midnight Marauders is November of 93, so they took about 17 months between the first and second one, 2 years, about 26 months between that one, and then you had the 3-year gap. But look at it. That's why people were expecting Beats, Rhymes, and Life to be like, it wasn't about necessarily even the quality of material. It's like, oh, well, if you got People's Instinctive and then you only had to wait 18 months for the Low End Theory, bet. And then you only had to wait 26 months for Midnight Marauders, it's like, bet. So when these niggas is taking like 38 months, it's like, oh no, this about to be epic. And then it was just good.
Yeah.
How many albums in 96 are better than Beats, Rhymes, and Life? Just off the top of your head.
I mean, I don't even want to do that. But
no, seriously, because that's how great 96 is. Because that's
a
good album. It's Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
It Was Written.
Yep.
AT Aliens.
Yep.
Illadelph Half-Life.
Yep.
Muddy Waters.
Yep.
Stakes is High.
Yep.
Riding Dirty 96.
Yep.
That's 7 just off the top of the dome, Mike.
The score is better too.
Oh, the score, that's 8. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Iron Man. You say that?
Iron Man. Nope, that's 9.
Yeah. It'll come to me in a second. I'm thinking about something. Did you say Machiavelli? Yeah. Michael Williams of the Super Chat says, "What are your thoughts
10.
on?" So, what are your thoughts on Cameron? In my opinion, he has one of the most entertaining flows, cadences of all time, and his charisma is A1. I love Cam.
Top 50 MC.
50, huh?
Top 50.
Well, you know what? While we're talking about that, 12 years ago today, Heavy D passed away. And we don't talk about the greatness of Heavy D enough. And I think even on a lot of these top 50 lists, Heavy D seems to be left out of the mix sometimes.
I don't think he's top 50.
Why not?
The memorable moments are not memorable enough for that to register.
I think
some of that is material.
I think his gift
selection,
similar to what you were saying with Naughty, he's kind of like a solo version of that, right? He has the notable singles, notable songs. But if we were gonna take verse for verse, album for album, I think that's where people have trepidation. But see, I would put him in there because he was so early and so innovative in that light.
Respect, and I say this respectfully because I love Hev and I love what he brings. Waterbed Hev, I love what he brings to the table. But, and this is not like a bar conversation thing. This is a really, Mike, what's his most memorable song? What's his most memorable rap moment? And because I think that has a lot to do why he gets that way. And I think some of that is because of the fact, like, I think people forget that, like, Hev kind of changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally stop cursing on the mic. And you got a different Hev because of that. And I think it's because even though the streets loved him, they never gravitated towards him.
And hip hop is the streets.
Especially for when Hev was around. Like when we talk about hip hop being in the streets now, I mean, 50-50 proposition. But back when Hev was doing it, hip hop was in the streets. Think about
I
this.
think it's that transition.
I think, well, he's also walking around the time when Rakim and Kane and KRS are still standing up tall, and I think they have something to do with it because he's not them on the mic, and so it's like, oh, Hev is cool, but he ain't no Rakim or G Rap on the mic.
But he got the bigger songs though.
Not them Rakim.
I mean, at the time, you don't think that, the Overweight Lover, I mean, because he used the same sample that Rakim used on, I Ain't No Joke.
You think that's bigger than Microphone Fiend, though? Because it's not.
I think at the time it was.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think at the time it was. I think that the legacy of Rakim's records grew more,
But sometimes I think it just, you know what? He came around, and this is really what it's about. He came around in the bar work era, where it's like your bars had to be stellar. And I'll give you a prime example. Well, on Don't Curse, you can tell who the two best MCs in the room are. And it's Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane. And so no disrespect to Hev, he's not that on the mic. And I think that, how about this? Hev's ahead of his time in this sense. If he was around now, that wouldn't matter as much because those things don't matter as much. But for the time that he's around, it's like, no, when you got a Kane and a G-Rap on a record with you and they stunt the way that they stunt on that record, G-Rap has the best verse, by the way. That's what hurt Hev. What hurt Hev was the time and contemporaries.
I think that he was...
he's there.
I think his contemporaries were more so like LL and guys like that, more so than, Rakim and G-Rap. Maybe even Slick Rick, too.
He's from Mount Vernon. So he's not too far off base from where he's working with all these guys. All these guys know who
he is working with all the guys, yeah.
I mean, and how about this? And some of what has happened to Hev too is that who he was overall for hip hop became bigger than his career. He's the guy pulling up on Living Single with Queen Latifah. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy that can.
So for real.
He's the guy that can sit up there. Andre Harrell, Puff, his cousin Pete Rock. That's what I mean. Like, his legacy is so deep beyond his musical contribution that I do think that is some of what's going on with Hev. It's like, nah, he gave us so much, Right. That's part of it.
CJ Kid with a super chat says, go ahead.
Just real quick, it also goes back to that De La thing. Records not big enough. Like,
you think the records were not big?
For hip hop,
I got you. Time. He had hit records, hit songs, per se. But the albums.
I got nothing but love for you. Some of the naughty stuff going on too, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like the hits are there, but name the Heavy D album that you play from end to end, and you're like, man, Hev's the shit.
They would say, or most people say, Beautiful Journey.
Peaceful Journey?
Peaceful Journey,
Peaceful Journey is his best album to me.
Yeah, yes. And I think he came up in a time when it wasn't really about making albums in the format that we're used to making albums, and he had to stick around through that transition, and I don't think the transition of, like you said, the streets were kind to him. I'm not going to
give him that when the greatest adventures of Slick Rick had been made.
Yeah.
When It Takes a Nation of Millions had been made. Like, a lot of those
albums. He was before that, right? I thought he came out like 87.
Oh, he's right in pocket with those guys with all that stuff.
Yeah, because 88's different. I thought he was like right before that.
No.
He didn't drop in 87?
I don't think so.
With Will and Rakim? CJ Kid with a super chat says, isn't the sound transition from Juvenile Hell to the Infamous better? But Havoc didn't produce that, though.
It's because the
Havoc didn't produce Juvenile Hell, did he?
The motifs on Juvenile Hell are very similar to the Infamous. The shit that Tribe is on the first album is not like.
But who made the Infamous happen production-wise?
Q-Tip.
Yeah. So there we go.
No. Not taking anything away from Q-Tip.
So either way you go.
Living Large was released in 1987.
Okay, 87. Okay. That was the debut. That was the Overweight Lover. But yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it, CJ Kid, you got to give it the Q-Tip.
Peaceful Journey is 1990, and so that's
the
Is
problem.
it?
So think
about this. Isn't that around the time America's Most is getting made and all that? You get what I'm saying? It's like, nah. Like Peaceful Journey. Peaceful Journey is great. It's not fucking with no America's Most, though.
No.
And I think that's what I mean. That's the problem.
Man with the super chat says, clearly you do not know Hev's catalog, and I only pay this super chat just to say, stop the cooping. Clown. Real bumper clock clown coop.
Madman paid some money. I'm happy that this broke ass nigga finally spent some money on us. Thank you for
Shout
spending
out
some
to
money
Man.
with your broke ass because you've been in the chat talking for years without spending any damn money. At least you got to spend some money for your broke ass thoughts. You broke ass nigga. Go ahead.
Heavy D, I think is top 50, and I'll give it because of impact. And I need to put together my list, and we got to both do one, before the end of the year and finalize it because I know we've been flirting with a list forever.
We should see. We were doing an objective list with criteria. We should just give people our list. Like, how about
that'd be easier?
Like, this is what I'm saying. So, where would somebody like the Jizza, since we're about to talk Liquid Swords, fall on your list? That's why Hev's not making my top 50. Because if I'm being objective, as much as I love the Jizza personally, he's probably not cracking the top 30. And when somebody like the Jizza's not cracking your top 30, don't tell me Hev's cracking the top 50.
You couldn't see a way. You couldn't see a way on an all-time list where Heavy would be over Jizza.
Hev or Pasanus?
I'm gonna have to put Hev over Pasanus. I think Pasanus is the more talented lyricist.
Even with all the Daylight, with you walking around saying that Daylight might have arguably the greatest group catalog.
He doesn't have anything solo.
Okay. And what's Hev's most memorable solo moment? That's why I keep going back to.
Nothing But Love.
That's not enough.
Now That We Found Love.
LL Cool J has like literally 40 songs like that. That's my whole point.
Well, LL's different. Now, I'm not putting
same era.
Yeah.
87, 88,
LL's
89, 90,
level.
91. 90 is Mama Said Knock You Out, Mike. So Peaceful Journey or Mama Said Knock You Out? Mama Said Knock You Out.
You know what?
Peaceful Journey or America's Most? You get what I'm saying? Like, Hev's problem is his competition in the era. That happens.
You would put Pasanus over Hev overall? He doesn't have, look, Daylight is a collective, and I'm gonna say the same thing I say about Andre and Cass.
That's the taste. Mike, if you saying Hev is ahead of Pasanus, then that also means he can be ahead of Q-Tip too.
Q-Tip has solo material on Tribe stuff, but that does open that door.
Name the solo songs though, Mike, outside of People's Instinctive.
Outside of
90.
people?
That's 90.
Well, I could also say Words from the Abstract. I could say Midnight.
Dose.
I could say Get a Hold.
Trace.
I could say, obviously the whole People's Instinctive album.
Right. So after People's Instinctive, you really don't have nothing to go off of. That's 1990.
You
got about 5 Q-Tip solo records.
What's the other one I'm thinking about?
It
was on the low end
theory.
Hey
Suck a Nigga?
Solo? Yeah, Suck a Nigga.
Suck a Nigga's a solo. I love Suck a Nigga.
I'm thinking about something else though. It'll come to me in a minute. Michael Williams with the super chat says, who's the better lyricist, Prodigy or Ghost?
Prodigy.
Also, whose voice is better?
Prodigy.
I'm going with Ghost on the lyricism. It may be Prodigy with the voice. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, we need to have a versus with those guys. We don't want a song matchup with Ghost and Prodigy with his Mobb Deep stuff.
You don't want to do that to Ghost.
I can use Wu-Tang stuff too, right?
Don't matter.
Oh, really? Oh, no. I'm with this. So Prodigy,
because most of Wu-Tang's brightest moments as a collective, Ghost ain't the main.
Are we gonna do this?
You gonna play?
We're gonna do this after the Biggie and Pac thing.
Because if you play Impossible and Can It Be All So Simple? Oh, I got some shit that'll go ahead and knock that.
Listen,
right out.
bro,
that ain't gonna cut it. Older gods ain't gonna cut it against Mobb Deep.
I know people really want the Pac and Biggie song matchup.
Much as I love the MGM, Mike, if you play the MGM, I'm gonna blast that ass. I am. It's P. I got the Mobb Deep shit. Oh no.
Nah, man.
Oh no.
Nah.
Oh, no. You don't
I'm probably not even gonna play MGM.
You don't want to do that.
Nah, I do want to do this. See, you're making me want to do this before the Pac and Biggie.
No. You're not gonna run from that L.
No, we're gonna do that. But this is very intriguing.
You want to do Ghost and P?
I want to do Ghost and P. Let's do this.
Feel sorry for you, Mike. It's gonna be bad.
No, it's not.
I hate to be the one to break it to you, and New Yorkers will tell you this. For as great as Ghost is, his shit is not as legendary as that Mob shit. It's not.
What does New York say out there? Come on, New York, tell us something.
Because in this, I'm gonna go back and tell you this again. Those songs that you're gonna play, Raekwon's gonna be on a lot of those songs, Mike. It's gonna be a lot of
No.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna stay away from that.
Mike, Mighty Healthy's not gonna cut it against Mobb Deep. That's
really?
what I'm trying to tell you.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have about 10 to 15 Mobb Deep songs better than Mighty Healthy. That's Ghost top 5 shit. Mike, don't do that to Ghost like that.
Only the songs will prove it. I'm with that. I hear what you're saying, but when it comes to the speakers, it's a little different.
You're right.
Jermaine,
When Give Up the Goods drop, it's a little different. When Shook Ones drop,
I can beat these records.
You cannot beat Shook Ones. Quiet Storm. No, you're not.
No, Shook Ones is different, but
so is Quiet Storm, Mike.
I like Quiet Storm.
So is Keep It Thorough.
You gonna play the regular Quiet Storm or the remix?
I'm playing the regular version.
You need the remix.
You know how I feel about the remix. The remix ain't like that, Mike.
So you're telling me that the regular Quiet Storm is better than the remix Quiet Storm?
I feel the way about the regular Quiet Storm the way you feel about the regular Made You Look.
Impossible.
It's like, why?
But I like the regular Quiet Storm.
You know why I like the regular Quiet? You know why I like the Quiet Storm remix? Because C's played it for me before it came out when he came into Manifest when I was in high school. He was like, Kim just did a joint with Mobb Deep. I was like, Kim doesn't record Mobb Deep. He's like, nigga, come on out back. I was like, oh.
You remember when it was exciting to hear a new remix because you knew you were going to get something different?
No, but that's because people used to challenge the theory. People don't understand. Like, to you young niggas, Lil' Kim doing a song with Mobb Deep's not that big a deal. When she did that, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I can remember looking at C's like, I was like, Kim did the Quiet Storm remix with Mobb. He's like, nigga, he like take this young nigga out back. Let's go.
Jermaine Johnson.
I didn't appreciate him calling me a young nigga. He wasn't that much older and he was shorter than me. I was like, yo, you don't know you're talking
He was
to
like,
fan,
I'm
but
grown.
Right.
Jermaine Johnson.
He had on Biggie's Jesus piece when I met him.
Wow. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "In Living Color is an all-time great theme song." CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "This Friday, Soul Survivor by Pete Rock celebrates 25th anniversary. Any thoughts on that album?" Well, I know the Main Ingredient celebrating 29 years today. I love the Main Ingredient.
Ditto.
I think it's one of the best produced albums of 1994. I was listening to it this morning.
Me too.
CL Smooth, and I will stand on this. I've always said this. He is the most underrated MC in hip hop to me. His style was vicious, man. Like, I'm listening to this dude rhyme, man. Like, he was perfect on the mic, and he has a top 10 hip hop song under his belt with 3 verses.
Is CL Smooth better than AZ? Then he's not the most underrated.
No, I think AZ gets his props. That's my point. And
AZ put in the work to get his
he
props.
does.
CL didn't. So when you're talking about being underrated, Mike, I'm just going to need you to
CL
name...
doesn't even get mentioned,
Mike,
bro.
I'm going to need you to name the CL project where he deserves to get mentioned, though.
The Main Ingredient.
No. Solo project. That's what I'm saying.
That's just him. See, I guess we differ when it comes to, that makeup of a group.
Let me ask you something.
Because to me, the Gangstar stuff, I count as Guru, so I'll give Guru those solo props.
Okay.
So it's a little different.
You think he's better than Guru? Because the songs aren't better.
No, I think Guru has the body of work. But if you ask me, if I just heard
bar for bar, he's better.
If I heard both of these guys and you're like, yo, pick one guy, I'm probably gonna pick CL Smooth.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that with AZ has the songs and the bars. Like, he's got not quite Gangstar level songs, but he's got better songs than CL.
You think he got better songs than Pete Rock and CL Smooth?
Outside of They Reminisce Over You, yes, he does. Like, I'm sorry, Mike, Do or Die is better than The Main Ingredient, right?
Not to me. But
shit.
Not to me. I like it a lot.
Where is the rather unique mic performance on The Main Ingredient outside of
what?
Trying to think. What's that record? It's like track 6. Trying to think of the name of the record. I was just listening to that shit.
Chocolate City?
No, the one before.
Not Caramel. Yeah. Nah, he's all his mic performances on there. It's like a straight line of consistency.
I'm sorry, Mike.
But they both do similar things because they're both very consistent bar for bar.
Look, Magic Hour with CL Smooth and AZ is one of my favorite. It's like, these might be the 2 most underrated niggas ever, and they're rapping on the mic together, and CL showed his ass on there.
I think when it comes to those guys,
he's not more underrated than A, though.
I don't think A's underrated anymore. I kind of put him in the Black Thought category because if we go out there and ask people,
are you putting him in the Black Thought category?
I mean, where he used to be underrated, but you appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people underrate AZ anymore. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "If it were Mob versus Wu for 20, would it change?" Of course.
Mob versus Wu for 20?
Yeah.
Mob's in trouble.
Yeah.
But Ghost is in trouble against Prodigy. You understand
I
that?
want to take this one. Nah, for real. $20 super chat from Anthony Davis showing love. He says, Pasta News would have been a dope solo MC. An underrated song is Held Down from AOI Bionic, which is features CeeLo.
I want to do AZ versus CL now.
Okay.
Because you in trouble, Mike. This is what I'm saying. Is like you got the Come Up, Sugar Hill, Rather
Sugar
Unique.
Hill's a great song. Great song.
Mike.
People are saying they like CL. Okay.
CL can get that work against A.
88 Spencer with a super chat says, the Hefster got joints with Janet and Michael. And he did his thing on self-destruction. R.I.P. Hefster. For real.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think we should take that. I'm going to get Ghost. You're going to get Prodigy. We can use Woo. We can use
I'm always
Mob
taking
stuff.
Bandana P.
Shout out to Bandana P, man. R.I.P. to one of the great.
Now, we're just talking P. Solo, Ghost
Nah,
solo.
that's not fair.
Yeah, that's Ghost. But if you let me use the Mob stuff, and you can use the Woo stuff, you can use all the Woo stuff you want, Mike. You're in a lot of trouble.
Well, I mean, I got to use the Woo stuff that Ghost is
You're
on.
in a lot of trouble. That's why I'm saying think about the best songs that he's on.
Okay. I'm with it. Let's do it.
You gonna play Cash Still Rules?
I probably won't, man.
If you don't think that you need Cash Still Rules,
I might not. I need to go make a list, man. Now this, I'll definitely go in and study. And it won't be no mix-ups on this one. It won't be no little missteps.
Mike, outside of Keep It Thorough, I don't even need to play any of Prodigy solo stuff. That's how thorough that Mob shit is, Mike.
Keep It Thorough's a beast.
What are you gonna do when I play? What's the shit? Out of Control.
I got
shit. Yeah, I got
50
shit
Cent, Out of Control.
Yeah, I got shit like that, Mike.
That's a dope ass song.
That's just waiting in the wings. That's not even the prime time stuff. That's not the peak stuff. That's like if you try me, I'm just gonna hit you with one of those. Like,
I like it. I think we need to do that, but we got to do the Pocket Big first.
Hey, whenever you're ready, man. I stay ready. I told you I've been playing a lot of Tupac lately. It's over for you, Mike.
Yeah, he's incredible. Have you been following this whole back and forth with J. Cole, Soulja Boy, and stuff like that?
No, I don't watch petty shit like that no more.
Well, what's going on is the fact that, Soulja Boy jumped up and, he feels like he's disrespected at every turn, right? J. Cole basically was telling a story to Yachty because Yachty was interviewing him, right? And he was like, when he first heard Crank That Soulja Boy, he thought it was whack because, he was, on his hip-hop snob stuff at the time. Yeah. And he said over time, he realized, like, you know what? I was hating, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own, like you said, Anthony Hamilton told you, like, everybody has a place on the stage.
There's room for everybody.
And so he was giving him props, right? But I think every time the Soulja hears his name, and he's so used to being, I guess, disregarded and disrespected for what he's done and his impact in the game, he felt the way about it. Now, granted, he later on apologized, which is cool. But I guess my question is, has hip-hop disrespected Soulja Boy and what he has brought to the game? Because he has been a pioneer in many lights.
Soulja Boy is going to get disrespected because he's coming along in a transitional period of hip-hop. And it took a lot of us old niggas to, get off the lawn.
Yeah. And
get back in the streets and get with what the young kids were doing.
Was that the first big change like that in that era?
He is the first big change, Mike. And, and that's why he is transcendent in a sense because it's like, hey, whether you like it, love it, hate it, you got to respect that he showed the new generation how to get money.
Yeah. He is the ringtone rapper. When they used to talk about ringtone sales, he's the guy.
Like, you remember how he got on by taking the
MySpace, and the downloads,
and flipping the shit. Like, no, there's a little.
This is before YouTube. It's Napster. He was doing that.
There's a little inside genius to that needs to be respected. Looking back on it, he paved the way for young niggas to come in this game and get money. It's always that quality versus becoming a star type of thing, and I think that's what he created, where he gets hated on because he's the guy where it's like, oh, well, you don't really got to rap well. You just got to come up with something catchy, be charismatic,
come up with a
right producer, and yeah. What did the shit the game say? You niggas better. turn on the TV, all you see is the A. You niggas better come up with a dance to get radio
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Like that, Soldier Boy is the rationale and the reason for that existing,
Right.
but it also exists now. So,
And they were saying he killed hip hop for those reasons. But you're right, to be a transformative figure, whether good or bad, you're gonna catch that flack. And I guess he feels like he's still catching it. And in a hip hop 50, he has yet to really be celebrated in that way. And, again, we're talking 50, but it feels like hip hop 50 is more so focused on the first 20 years, right? And so the people who've made impact
feels very, yeah, it feels very, it feels very 73 to 93 on that.
Yeah, it's like we're celebrating hip hop 50, and I get it because, we want people to be able to smell their flowers while they're here. I get that, first come, first serve in that sense. But we do have to acknowledge, somebody like him who transitioned this game from wax to the internet, if you will.
Right.
Because that's where we're at.
No,
and that's where we've been.
For better or for worse, whether you like him, love him, or hate him, he is a main figure in this era because of what he did in his era in terms of the transition. Like, how about this? Do we even have the sounds and styles of music that we have here in Atlanta now without Soulja Boy?
I don't know if we do.
Exactly. And so
even somebody like the Migos, you could tell
I was thinking about
Boy
Future.
Influence. Yeah.
I was thinking about Future. It's like, I feel like Future took Soulja Boy's formula in a sense. It's like, oh no, I can rap better than you. And I'm not going to do a dance song, but I'm going to find a happy little medium that works with everything that you put together.
He set a foundation. And it seems like he never gets that prop. So that's probably why, if his name isn't being spoken of in a positive light, he just lashes out.
Think about this. Isn't Turn My Swag On bigger if it comes out today? That's because Soulja Boy did shit like that.
Yeah.
Hop up out the bed, turn my swag on.
Yeah. They thought he was going to be a one-hit wonder, and he wasn't.
Said, what's up? Like, imagine if somebody like Kodak, like I can hear Kodak singing Turn My Swag Up today, and it'd be like such a big thing if he did it. Yeah. And that's where he did change the game for better or for worse, whether you love it or hate it.
Chris with the super chat says, cool, Mike, what do y'all think about the numbers that Ross is doing on these two songs? I didn't hear about the numbers. Well, good for them. They actually releasing that album Friday. Did you see the track list? Mm-mm. It's out there.
Who's on it?
Let's see.
How many tracks is it?
I'm about to pull it up right now. Okay. Michael Williams with the super chat says, Mike, what ghost verse are you playing for P on I Shot Ya? Just wait.
You're in trouble.
I Shot Ya's heavy, though. I will say that.
Conversate with many men.
All right, I got the track list right here.
Got what I already knew. You hear me, friend? Illuminati.
All right, so we got
in my body.
They got 17 tracks.
It's too many. But keep going.
But that's including the remix, so let's just say 16, right? All right, so we got they got song Shaq and Kobe. Then they got Star Island. Like then they got Go to Hell, 800 Carats.
I'm loving it.
Dead Last.
Sounds very gangster. Yes, keep going.
Featuring Fab. Shout
out to D1. Shout out to D1's punk ass. Keep this gangster shit going.
Oh no, man. They don't really love you. $1 Million Trap.
This is beautiful.
What is it? Grandioso featuring Voy again.
Grandiose, yes. Oh.
Yeah.
These songs sound great. It sounds very gangster.
Above the Law.
Rap songs?
Above the Law featuring Tiana Taylor and DJ Khaled.
This is what I signed up for. Don't nobody want to hear these niggas talk conscious.
Fine Lines.
This on Friday.
Fine Lines featuring Wale and The Dream.
Oh, it's beautiful. This is turning out.
Gold Medals featuring Jeremiah.
Victory, Mike.
Iconic.
Victory.
Lyrically Easy.
Victory.
Pillow Talk.
Man, fuck a D1.
Millionaire Row featuring French Montana.
This is what it sounds like. They made a track list of what we came out to actually hear them do.
In Love with the Money featuring Future.
In Love. That's how the album finished. In Love with the Money.
Oh no. Then you got a Shaq and Kobe remix with Shaquille O'Neal and Dame Dollar.
We don't count that.
I want to hear that though. That's gonna be interesting.
Look here.
All right, go ahead. Give your thoughts. I'm gonna give my thoughts. In a second.
Track listing makes me excited because guess what? You know the first rule is a public speaker, right? Maybe D1 don't know this shit. I'm gonna stay on that ass about that dumb shit he said too. You know what the first thing that you have to learn is a public speaker?
I'm with D1. I see his points. I'm not gonna let you just slam on D1 like
fuck
that.
Fuck his points, man. I'm gonna tell you what your first thing is a public speaker that you're supposed to do. And I learned this in 7th grade English from Miss Marshall. Miss Marshall is who put me on the Nirvana, by the way. know your audience. They know their audience.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Rick
addressing
Ross
their
is
audience.
great at that, actually.
Guess what? If you want to hear some more conscious rap, go listen to Heavy D, Peaceful Journey. Our man LT just shot me a promo today for his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You want something more conscious? Go listen to LT. LT is a faith-driven man.
And
LT don't curse.
And you know what?
And
LT,
he can rap his ass off.
Yeah, me and LT had a conversation today. I was like, we need to do a panel about this topic because he's like, he kind of, he feels where D1's coming from and all of that.
I
So
don't.
I think this.
Because if you want to hear that, it's available to you. Go listen to Heavy D. Go listen to LT.
You don't think that
LT
certain
got
people
bars.
can add on to their repertoire, though?
You can't force an artist to grow. The artist has to grow within the circumference of whatever's going on with them.
Right.
We are in year number what of Ross? We're in year number what of Meek? Guess what? If you was going to hear the growth, you would have heard it.
But it's like, I think that the point is there's growth off the record, but I get what you're saying. On record, you got to know your audience.
This
because
is
at the
entertainment.
end of the day, if they were to go out there and make a, We Are the World record, their audience wouldn't receive it. And the people who do receive conscious music probably wouldn't like it anyway.
Like, if Rick Ross stopped doing 10 Jesus pieces and started doing songs like 100 Hail Marys, I'm out.
Jermaine Johnson.
You understand that? If he starts doing 100 Hail Marys instead of 10 Jesus pieces, I'm out. It's like, I don't know what this nigga doing. It's like, no, I didn't come for that.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Soulja deserves respect for his hustle. His bar work deserves disrespect. Every artist's work is up for critique, and you have to take the bad with the good. But I think he never gets the good, though. That's the thing, Jermaine. I mean, I think we already know that bar for bar, Soulja's not the guy to go to for that part of it. But his innovative nature, you got to give him credit. Like we do some of the other pioneers that might not be bar for bar some of the best. You know what I mean?
We came to Rick Ross for Santorini, Greece, and Amsterdam.
No, I'm with you.
Not for I Can by Nas and Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. Stop that.
What I do get from this album track
Why is it okay for certain art? How about this? Why is it okay for Soulja Boy to never grow, but we asking Rick Ross and Meek Mill to grow?
It's not okay for him not to grow because people continuously calling him whack. You know what I mean? So he gets critique for that too.
It's crazy.
I think that the thing is, and where D1 was coming from, is the fact that you're doing social justice work off the, outside of the record. And I think people want to hear more of that on the record. But I think Meek does address some of those things on record. I mean, what's free and stuff like that.
When Tupac was this way, it was not a problem. Right.
I mean, for people, it was. Remember they used to call him bipolar, a hypocrite, and
contradictory.
Contradictory, yeah.
And how do all those people sound now?
Yeah, it's range now.
Sound like fucking idiots now. Let these niggas.
Stolly's dope too. Shout out to Stolly.
Stolly and Apollo Brown did a great project a couple years ago. That was
they
stellar.
Did. But what I get from this track list is that we're gonna get some Ross influence, smooth out hip hop shit. I see a lot of R&B singers on here, and I like that. I like that because what I'm seeing, the top part, and I could be wrong, and this is my prediction. I haven't heard any of these songs, right? So the top part sounds like the rap stuff because it's just them. And when we get to that R&B feature part, that's when we're getting the smooth out stuff. I think Fab is on a smooth out record.
This is about to be the stunt ball fest that we want it to be.
No, it's going to be a really good album, I think.
It is.
Based on the titles, based on what I see with the flow right now, and then you're stunting to end it with Shaq and Damian Lillard.
I told you, Mike, I love the Infamous and the Low End Theory the same way, and so I don't get with dudes like D1 because I understand that there's room for everybody on the stage. Like, imagine this. It's like if you would have asked Prodigy to grow, I would have told you to stop that right there. I'm going to need Prodigy to grow. I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up and stay away from one of my favorite MCs so I can get the music that I'm looking for.
Let me get the right quote.
Shut your ass up.
Let me get the right quote. He has a problem with rappers celebrating murder.
I have a problem with the white people in fucking Capitol Hill doing it, but that shit seems to be okay. These motherfuckers rushed the whole Capitol.
What's that got?
Is that okay?
No, that's a whole different thing. But no, I mean, it's not okay
shit.
either.
I want my white people in America to not rush the Capitol and be racist. What's the chances that I'm gonna get that?
I mean,
I'm not.
You've said on this show before. You've said on this show before too that you hold black people to a higher standard than
That's because we're inherently better.
But that's what I'm saying. So with that being said, what's wrong with D1 wanting more from, our own?
No, you can ask him to do better, and you can pick up the phone instead of trying to have a little viral moment for clout by doing it. Is my point. I need
to see the whole interview.
You got your viral moment. It's very, very cute how you did it, but you could have picked up the phone and called the man. Like, here's what I know.
You think they're in communication like that?
If you really want a man to change and grow, how is you calling him out in front of people really going to help that? That's why I brought up the brother Malcolm and like Martin thing. It's like, oh, well, Malcolm doing that didn't help anything. Right. Because even our greats make mistakes. And so nothing about how he moved really helps our plight or our situation. And
it doesn't get the conversation out there?
I don't give a fuck about a conversation if it's not changing anything.
But can the conversation change, the approach?
Not when you're calling a man out in public before you talk to him behind closed doors.
Yeah, the public thing's never good.
That's like me being like, just out the driver down. Hey Ron, remember that fuck shit you did before I have no. Yeah. No, it ain't gonna work that way. It's not gonna work that way. When has it ever worked that way? And so we as black people, we need to start using our emotional intelligence with each other, and maybe stepping behind the scenes to handle some of those things. Because if he was that passionate and that serious about it, he wouldn't feel the need to broadcast it. That's why I brought up me feeding the homeless, which I, by the way, did the other night again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, no, if you really feel that way about it, it don't need to be for sale, my G. It don't need to be viral. If you're that concerned when it comes to matters like this, if you're really this concerned with the plight of our people, I'm gonna need you to handle it like you're really concerned about the plight of our people. The reality of the matter is that you're not. You did some sucker nigga shit.
But we're assuming though that
if they had a conversation, Meek would have said something.
No, I'm just saying.
Meek be on Twitter.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. But we're assuming that he has contact to these individuals, and maybe, he felt that was the way to get that conversation, and maybe it was the wrong, approach, but maybe thought that the greater good was better to actually get that out in the airwaves to say, you know what, we got to stop celebrating murder in our music.
I don't know. I know when you talk to Philly niggas that way, you should really talk to them face to face instead of in front of everybody. They don't take kind to that shit.
I think that the individualized part of it, where it was
Meek?
Why? I mean, it was those three. It was Jim Jones, Ross, and Meek. And I think that the individual nature of it, and again, I need to watch the whole interview because I'm sure there's some context to why those three names came up. But what I was gonna say, but what I was gonna say though, I think that that's the mistake, to call out the individual names. You could have just spoken about, hip hop in general and the fact that in that light we could do better. But yes, whenever you call out somebody individually, then, you're going to get a possible response. Because what else way could Ross really respond? What other way could you respond positively? I think he responded in the most positive way he could, outside of, talking about what he got in his head and stuff.
I just don't see the productivity of it in all, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't. And so even though you might agree with some of his stance, I fundamentally understand what he's saying.
You just don't agree with the approach.
Know your audience. Because here's what D1 needs to learn from Meek and Ross based on this track listing. Well, Meek and Ross know their audience. So fuck your feelings.
Chris with the super chat says, Ross, Ross so far has 7 million on Spotify, 12 million on YouTube, and for Shaq Kobe, 4 mil Lyric Easy. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is name recognition.
Tupac and Snoop Dogg, it ain't nothing but a gangster party, Mike.
I think the Shaq and Kobe thing is a kind of a play on the algorithm too. You know what I'm saying? And so
smart business.
Yeah. So the search engine optimization is going to be high on that based to Shaq and Kobe's name recognition along with theirs as well.
It's part of black culture. That's part of black culture, American culture, sports culture, hip hop culture forever. Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
It's our greatest duo of the modern era.
It is. Shaq and Kobe or LeBron and Wade?
Shaq and Kobe.
Really?
Easy. Easy money. It's easy.
I don't know if that's as easy as we think.
Shit.
Because
Shaq's finals numbers better than LeBron's finals numbers. Stop that.
But the thing is, man,
Shaq and Kobe.
Shaq could have done a lot of that with somebody other than Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like, but with that Wade and LeBron tandem,
it sounds good too. Shaq and Kobe just sounds better. LeBron and D Wade don't sound like Shaq and Kobe. It don't sound like no. It don't sound like Magic and Kareem. No, it's Shaq and Kobe, nigga. Shaq and Kobe are the deal.
Who's the producer of the year in hip hop this year?
Ooh, depends on how the rest of this year goes, Mike.
I mean, based on what we got so far,
It's up in the air.
Still up in there.
It's up in the air.
Who you got?
I don't have anybody right now because it's up in
So
the air.
nobody's like running away with it.
Nobody's running away.
I mean, I think Hit Boy's done the best production job this year.
He's been doing that for the last 3 years.
You could say, what did you think about the Metro Spider-Man soundtrack?
That's why it's still up in the air.
Yeah.
Alchemist's been floating around like he usually has. Let's be honest. For the last 3 years,
What about Muggs?
Maybe
Sleeper.
Last 3 years has really been the main three guys. It's been Metro, Al, Hit. Shout out to Muggs. Muggs been putting in a lot of work. Muggs put in a lot of work.
Jermaine Johnson with a super chat says, there's space between gangster rap and We Are the World. Rakim resonates with the streets without rapping about violence. Method Man hasn't cursed on records in at least 8 years and still sounds hard.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many places the D1 could go if this is what he's striving for. It seems like he's trying to come down on Meek, and I don't like it.
I don't feel like Rick Ross really makes gangster rap like that. I think that,
he
his
makes
shit is
luxury lifestyle music.
Yeah,
Mike.
like I don't.
This is a luxury lifestyle we're missing.
Where's the violence in Rick Ross's music? I'm trying to think.
Oh no, he does gangster shit in his music.
I mean, every now and then, but
trap.
Yeah, but that's not violence.
I don't know.
I mean, trapping leads to violence.
On Idols Become Rivals, I really do believe he said, "Look you in the eyes, nigga, before I say goodnight. Pray Manny Fresh get to see the day of light." Yeah. No, he be saying gangster shit, Mike.
Leroy Green with
Just
the super
makes it
chat.
sound very luxurious when he does it.
Leroy Green with the super chat says D1 was right after calling someone out. It would have been cool if it had been that kind of blueprint for folks moving forward. He's a teacher, so teach. CJ Kidd.
What is he a teacher of, though, Mike?
He's a teacher. He actually, I think he teaches at Harvard. I don't know. Oh, my bad. I don't know what he teaches.
He teaches at Harvard.
I think he was saying.
So he's teaching a bunch of white people.
He's teaching at another university as well.
Georgetown, North Carolina A&T, Jackson State, Winston-Salem State.
Look him up real quick. Look it up real quick.
Is it an HBCU?
It might be. Look it up real quick.
Yeah, I don't think
CJ Kidd with the super chat says
Temple. Is it Temple?
I don't know.
No,
Look it up.
Northwestern. He had Northwestern.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says A2HH convo between Coop and D1 would be a healthy way to two opposing sides debating ideologies. Malcolm and Martin didn't have that chance publicly. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I think the conversation and the intent goes in a positive direction, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want people to stop glorifying murder and rap, I'm cool with that. Now, I think that is the right stance. And I do think that there is a way where you can, like they said, Rakim was able to balance that street and actual,
So there are so many more things we could be focusing on. So you're tired of guys bringing up murder and rap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm tired of watching black men be murdered by police. How about we address like us actually being murdered instead of some fictional shit happening on wax? That's my problem.
Back to what you said, though. I mean, he's holding his own people to a higher standard than he does, people who are trained to possibly be racist towards, black people. So, I mean, you can do both.
You can. All I'm just saying is that there usually tends to be an order about the things that we need to take care of. We might want to take care of some of our socioeconomic inequality. We might want to take care of some of this racism. Like, there are so many ways that he could be reaching.
He does all those things, though. And I follow him, but he does all those things.
But did that go viral or did this go viral?
Is that his fault?
That's why you got to be. But, Mike, but we know, listen to what I'm saying, but we know the nature of the threat. So we have to always be mindful of the fact that when you speak about your own like this, it's always going to go further than when you speak about the other side, which is why I said you should handle it behind closed doors because we know what the media is going to do with it. Yeah. You can run out here and be like, stop murdering black men. Police. It'll go nowhere. You're like, man, Meek need to stop talking about murder in his raps. Viral. You do that already. You're an educated black man. You know better.
I see what you're saying.
So stop giving this nigga a hall pass. He knew better is what I'm saying. And as an educated and intelligent black man, there were so many different ways that he could have went about it. He chose this way. And that's why it looks like some sucker shit.
Is it a bad thing for somebody with a message like his to even go viral, though? Because I think more people should know about D1 and the work he's done, the music he's made.
Not at the expense
but
of
not
Meek
at
Mill.
the expense of your brother. I get that. And I think that the way that...
What is that? That's what your oppressor does.
But see, I think that the way that this can be a full out positive is if they can have that conversation and understand that everybody wants the same things, just approaching it in a different way. And like you said, they know their audience. Now, I do think that there could be a compromise there too, where it's like, you know what? Do you think deep down somebody like, Ross, because Ross is a very intelligent individual, same thing with Meek. Yeah, I said the same thing with Meek. So maybe deep down they're like, you know what? I don't like the way he came at me, but he might be kind of right. Let me change up some of the things I'm doing.
I've had those moments, Mike, where I've been like, hey, I don't like how you approach me, but I hear and I respect what you're saying.
Yeah.
But almost all those moments have happened behind closed doors. Because if you do that shit to me in public, we going to have a problem. You're not about to sit up there and downgrade me for your gain, even if you think you're helping our people. Because here's the reality of the matter.
I don't think he downgraded.
Hold on.
He challenged them.
Here's the reality of the matter. I don't know you like that. Period. The end. For you to be talking about what I'm doing in my personal life and in my career and what you want me to do, you don't know me like that to talk about me like that.
I think that's fair.
Level.
I think that's fair.
Because if let's say he is teaching at Harvard, I'd be like, well, stop teaching all them damn white people and come teach these niggas some of what you know. It would be a problem for him if I said that.
But we critique people all the time here. That's what we do.
It's our job. That's not his job. He's a teacher, not a critic. Right.
If he's
a teacher, teachers teach.
Yeah.
Critics critique. Sounds like a teacher is being critical of somebody he doesn't even know about what and for what purpose and what are we gaining in this black community for him doing it? Because I don't see one way where this is about to make anything better.
So you don't think that, based on the approach, they're not going to listen even if he has a valid point?
Do you see them responding?
Yeah. They have been responding.
Like?
Are you talking about, the responses have not been, you know what, you're right, I'm going to change up my music.
Or, hey, have you heard, hey, I hear what you're saying, brother. I respect what you're saying. Let's sit down and have a conversation. Is that how the response went?
No.
You want to know why? Because the approach was fucked up, Mike. Okay.
Well, hopefully they can all get past the approach and, find a way to make all of these things work. Because I think that at the end of the day, if they can work, I think it's a positive.
I hope they work it out. It's just
I love what Nas was able to do with 21 Savage. You know what I'm saying?
Mike, that happened behind closed doors, and we didn't know that it had happened until the song came out.
No, I'm talking about what Savage said was public.
Right. And how did the response go? Behind closed doors. Because Nas is his elder and a teacher and a leader. And he led by example.
So you're saying that Ross is wrong then, because based on this situation, Ross would be in the Nas position.
He could be, but also too, this is what I mean. There's a difference between talking about somebody's relevancy and then you're talking about how you want somebody to stop talking about the things that they're talking about on record. You're literally oppressing their freedom of speech as a black man. You understand that?
I think when you're talking about somebody's relevancy, though, I think that is a threat to their career. You know what I mean?
Not when you're 50 and you've already had the greatest rap career ever.
I understand that. And obviously it is what it is. But we're out here doing shows and you got promoters out here and stuff. It's not cool for one of the hottest rappers in the game to sit here and say you're not relevant. That's like when Stephen A. gets on television telling owners and ownership that they shouldn't pay somebody a certain amount. You know what I'm saying?
Is he doing that?
He does that every now. I wouldn't pay James Harden this, and that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's James Harden. That's different.
No. But at the same time, critique the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give anybody a reason where somebody could get shorted. And I feel like that's what 21 did with the relevancy thing. Because if you're going, obviously promoters know what it is, and they know that Nas is relevant. And even with what Tierra Whack said or whatnot. Oh, I didn't know you did Madison Square Garden. Like, so when him and his people pull up,
which was a lie,
right? When him and his people pull up to a promoter, if that's what they wanted to do, some promoter could go out there and be like, well, the people in this demographic say this, this, and this. 21 Savage said you're irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, don't give people stuff to go on. And I think that's what 21 did with his public thing. But even with that, they handled that the right way. Because that could have went a whole nother way too.
Show me the baby for all the labor pains, Mike.
Chris with a super chat says, guys, Ross's numbers have surpassed every rapper so far this year. In 2 songs, plus he said he's given 8 that's right. He's given 8 people $50,000 to just pre-order the album. Marketing genius. I forgot about that. Yeah, he has like a drawing for like $50,000 for people who are pre-ordering the album. So I do like this. I like the fact that they are bringing that whole marketing and album thing back, and they're doing like a traditional rollout. They're doing interviews. They're going out there making the stops. They're putting out the singles. They're putting out the videos. Like he said, Ross has a contest going for pre-orders. People ain't doing that in hip hop anymore. And and obviously these guys don't need to do it, but it's for the sport. We talk about how albums aren't important anymore. And when people don't put this type of effort around the rollout of the albums, that makes it where albums aren't important anymore as well. I'm looking forward to this album.
Song titles look great.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
I like where the features are. I like the R&B
like the
sound.
More than I do.
No, I like them because I know what this is about to sound like. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have an R&B singer on a Santorini Grease type of vibe. You know what I mean? Leroy Green with the super chat says, had D1 said, look, I'm an educator, so I know the human body reacts to frequency. So if it's violent, it triggers certain feelings. So let's turn the frequency to a higher one to tap into our higher selves. That's where that's coming from. I agree with that as well, Leroy.
All I'm saying is that you have to live a life of progress and be speaking to the progress before you can ask somebody else to be the progress. And asking somebody to be the progress publicly instead of privately in this community does not go well.
Mm-hmm.
It never goes well. This is what I keep on trying to stress is like, well, we've tried this with each other before. Show me where it's worked, because if it didn't work with Malcolm and Martin, who is this guy? Right.
Well, even when you talk about, and we talked about this before.
If it didn't work with them, it ain't about the work. We have blueprints that literally say handling things this way in this community don't work. And it literally goes back to the 2 greatest leaders we've arguably ever had. And so if they couldn't do it properly, who is this guy?
Well, this is the thing. I even sat right here and said the same thing about Jim Jones when he called out Pusha T for not being in his top 50 or whatever. When you single somebody out, it never goes well. Now, he doesn't have to have Pusha in his top whatever, but the fact that he actually made a whole thing about it, it was disrespectful. It's like, how do you think that's going to go?
I'm not talking about disrespect. I'm talking about what are your real intentions with what you're doing.
No, all I'm saying is when you call out somebody, period, it never goes well. That's all I'm saying.
Typically not.
Yeah.
Specifically in this community, though, Mike.
Yeah.
It never goes well.
Yeah.
So this was supposed to go well, though. I think that's the part that everybody's like, and I understand most people agree with you more than me. It's like, okay, now show me where it goes well when you do it that way.
Yeah, you have a problem with the approach.
I don't have a problem with what he's saying. What he's saying is valid. I think people who hear me talk know that I know what he's saying is valid. I'm saying if you're as educated, as intelligent as you say that you are, you know that this approach historically has never worked. So why are you doing it in 2023? If you're an intelligent, educated black man that considers yourself to be a progressive thinker who cares about the proactiveness and the upliftment of this community, that lets me know that it's like, do you know your history like that? Am I giving you too much credit for being intelligent and educated? Do you know your own black history and how we have dealt with each other? Like Mike, W.E.B. Du Bois and Frederick Douglass used to do this. Malcolm and Martin did this. Our greatest leaders have a history of doing this and failing, of literally being like, and they'll say it real beautifully too. It's like, I really don't like that nigga over there. And it don't work with those guys. So who is this guy to come along and do it now if he is as educated and as intelligent as he thinks he is? It speaks to the opposite, and that's why I'm siding on the other side with it.
Jermaine,
You might not be who you say you are if this is how your approach is for the position that you hold in this community.
well, I guess only time will tell on that, but I think he has a pretty thick resume and speaks for itself. Now, I think that maybe, like you said, the approach could have been better.
How do you feel about Dr. Cornel West? He had an impeccable legacy and approach. That approach the last 10, 15 years ain't been so much.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much education and intelligence you have. It doesn't matter if
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about his work in the community.
It doesn't even matter if you're a genius.
I'm not talking about intelligence. I'm just talking about the work.
It does not matter if you do not know how to speak to your brothers to get through. The whole point of a message is just like Muhammad Ali's jab. I'm going to need you to connect in order for it to matter.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Jim Jones is almost 50. At this rate, it feels like he's going to be 70 years old, still rapping about spinning the block on his ops. We can do better. We can do better. What was I gonna say?
What we got left?
Have you been watching these? Have you seen Suge Knight's podcast?
I've seen bits and pieces, but I'm excited about the thought of Suge talking.
Well, first of all, I think it's a great idea that Dave Mays had, with his relationship with Suge to be able to put this thing together, because so many people have been going viral and so many channels have, they use, I don't want to say use Suge's name for clickbait, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? And with Suge inside, it's only fair that he's able to tell his side of things too. You know what I mean? People have been using their Suge Knight story since he's been inside on their podcast. So it's only right that he be able to tell his side of things too. And the first episode that I saw, very informative, very entertaining. Suge is a great storyteller. And he sets the record straight. And so he said, this is the weird thing about Suge. And I remember watching a documentary on Suge. That's when his parents were on there and stuff too.
Suge has parents?
Yeah, it was cool too. His father played football as well. And his mother passed away recently, but the documentary I saw,
I've never heard anything about Suge's parents till you said something.
Yeah, his mom was cool. Like, his mom was a gangster. But anyway.
What a shock.
You can see where he gets it from, some of the stuff she said in the documentary. You should watch it. It's a great documentary. But the thing about Suge, though, his stories are always so different than the stories that we've heard from other people. And it makes me wonder, like, is Suge gassing, or is everybody else lying and Suge is telling the truth? You know what I'm saying?
I think Suge is probably one of the most underrated businessmen in our hip-hop culture history. And so he knows how to sell shit, Mike. Because when he was out here selling Death Row, they were outselling everybody.
Yeah.
So never understate his business acumen and his salesmanship. And that's why it's like I want to hear more, because really what gets lost in all the gangster shit is how intelligent he is.
Oh, yeah.
How charismatic he is. How thoughtful he is. It's like, nah, like it ain't no regular guy that goes to see Tupac in jail and can go get him out and get Tupac on the team. Nah, that's not no regular dude that has a bodyguard can get Dre to break away from easy. So Suge has the intangible things that a lot of great black men have in this business. It just never gets talked about because it gets shrouded in all the gangster shit, quite frankly. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he was, in our era, I feel like he was viewed as the hip-hop boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? And even like when you would see television shows that would depict like a fictitious record label or something like that, the CEO would have like the whole Suge build and makeup. You know what I mean? He's kind of, like you said, Tupac's the logo in hip hop. Suge is kind of that CEO overseeing type of figure symbol in hip hop as well.
No, Suge is synonymous with a lot of things. That's what I mean. It's like, no, he is one of the best moguls this business has ever seen. So it's like when you're looking at him, you have to understand there's not that big a difference between who he is business-wise than a Master P, a Jay Prince, a Puff, a JD. he's not that much different than these guys
Yeah.
business wise. And so I want to hear what he has to say because he does deserve to be heard on the level of his business acumen and what he's brought to the table and brought to the game.
Especially since his name always seems to come up in other people's conversations.
It's like we just remember like the dude who like had the camera that like literally Suge being like made the camera shake. It's like, oh dude, the cameraman couldn't even hold the shit straight when Suge was there. We remember stuff like that instead of remember the fact it's like, nah, he's the one that really broke up NWA, not Ice Cube. Right.
That's fair. I mean, it's odd, man, because again, I see people in the chat, and that's why I'm stopping. People in the chat are talking about, like they don't really rock with Suge like that, but I don't understand how people could love Pac so much, and Pac loves Suge.
So y'all rocking
and Pac didn't have love for Dre like that.
Y'all rocking with D1, but y'all don't rock with Suge at all. Okay.
No, but I'm saying, like, explain that part of it to me, because at the end of Pac's life, he was like this with Suge. He even told Left Eye to go sign with Suge.
She was about to before she passed.
She did.
The non-identity, the Nina album was supposed to come out on Death Row.
I thought she did sign because I remember when her, Corrupt, and who else was it that was on 106? And Petey Pablo. It was a weird lineup.
Petey, Mike, all these Nas fans. Nas fucked with Suge.
Yeah.
Petey Pablo fucked. Like there's so many guys that fuck with Suge. It's like that's what I'm saying.
Corrupt went back to Death Row. No, Corrupt was on that stage. Corrupt went back to Death Row. Daz was there for a long time. You know what I mean? So it's odd to me that, Pac was out here riding on Dre and all that, and we seem to want to forget that part of it. But that's what it was. And he was cool with Suge, but people don't like Suge but love Pac. I don't understand.
That's a whole nother conversation for another day. It's just like we should remember Suge more than hanging Vanilla Ice ass out the window. It's like, no, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And Suge is just quite frankly, is just results driven. Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, now did he always toe the line with the results? Probably not. But the results are there. The business acumen is there. The legacy is there. The record sales and the hits are there. When I listen to All Eyes on Me, it's like, no, understand that Dre didn't really help with that album that much. No. Pac and Suge put that together.
Yeah, and he enlisted DJ Quick to do a lot of help on there too. And I think Quick was in a bad situation with his label, and he was able to get Quick some money under the table at the time, I believe.
When I interviewed the Glove, you know what I'm saying? Did you hear Glove talk bad about Suge?
No, I'd never hear anybody who actually worked with Suge talk too bad about him.
We just had
somebody Snoop had
on the
inside. Thing with him, but that was personal.
We had somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
That we talked to,
and that's Dre's guy. So yeah. Frank Wizard with the super chat says, the media flipped it to make us think that Pac hated Suge for some reason. Yeah, I don't know if maybe so that, but it's these conspiracy theories that were happening before the internet that made people feel like, Suge had something to do with something else. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. I like the podcast. I'm looking forward to hearing more of the episodes. This wasn't even a Diddy episode, you know what I mean? So
he's talking about Diddy?
No, he's not.
Okay.
It was a great episode, and he didn't even bring up Diddy.
That's what I'm saying.
And he said he fucked with NBA YoungBoy. He brought up some of the new people in the industry.
Suge doesn't have to talk about anybody else for it to be a captivating podcast. His stories alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. It's like, no, I'm interested in hearing it.
He said the women are running the industry right now. He was like, look, man,
I said that earlier this year.
He was like, yeah, man, the women are the ones out here doing their thing.
They're the ones out here getting the money. He's right. That's what
he's paying attention.
That's what I mean about his business acumen being what it is. It's like, no. He understands what's even going on right now, even so far removed from it all these years, because he's always had an eye for it. He had an eye for it early.
Yeah, he said he fucked with NBA YoungBoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's in good spirits and stuff too. It's a pretty dope podcast. So I think that I'm looking forward to hearing what's going to be in the future. And it doesn't even seem like no clickbaitish type of stuff when it's easy to be able to do something like that with Suge. It just seems like he's doing some rebuttals, really.
He doesn't have to do any of that.
No.
He just has to be Suge and tell Suge stories. That's what I'm saying.
He's just setting the record straight.
Right.
Because all these people tell these stories about him. He's like, well, no, it didn't happen that way. It happened like this.
And also, too, here's the thing about it. All those other moguls have gotten to tell their stories. It's like, no, Master P's gotten to talk. Puff's gotten to talk. JD, Print, like, no. We know what all these guys think because they've had the opportunity to talk. Suge hasn't. So I want to hear what he has to say.
Yep. Man, I guess before we get out of here, do we have like a verse of the day or something?
I believe you wanted to do Holocaust of Silkworm.
I did want to do. Are we missing
It's
any
kinda
of the other?
long.
That is long. That you're falling down the endless tunnel of doom reality. You know what? That's a lyrical miracle verse. I was also debating between that and Scarface's third verse on Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Since that is like
that's like two opposite ends of the spectrum. You got the super lyrical and you got the super emotional and psychological and impactful.
Yeah.
Give me Face.
Well, sure. You want to go for the face one?
No. I mean, like, give me Face between the two verses, but you can have it. You can pick. I'm just saying, like,
no. Let's go with Face. LP with the super chat says at least Suge was up front. Puffs the snake, in my opinion. I think that the third verse on Mind Playing Tricks on Me is one of the greatest verses in hip hop history, and I know a lot of people felt the way about the fact I had it like in the top 10. Do we need to do like maybe a top 50 verses also, or is that just too many verses?
I think we should get to the MCs first because I think what moves this culture right now is the MC.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, this culture isn't as verse heavy. When we're getting verse heavy, we're talking about our era.
Yeah.
And we need to be mindful of all the eras, which is where the MC matters.
Actually, you're right, because if we did just all the best verses, the 90s would probably
take most of the verses, and then they'd be like, "Here you old niggas go again, doing this old nigga shit." And it's like, no, that's fine, you know. So I would say let's do the MCs.
Okay, we'll do the MCs, and I think maybe we can highlight some of the MCs' best verses or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd rather do 50 MCs list and bring up their most notable verses because I guarantee you in covering, like, let's say we would pick 50 MCs and write down their most 3 notable verses. That would be probably, you're going to get your greatest verses of all time out of those 150 verses. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's where it is. Like, think about it. So AZ would be in my top 50. So if, like, when I'm thinking about his top verse, I think about Life's a Bitch, obviously. Well, yeah, that's going to make the top verse. I think about his second verse on Rather Unique. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be stuff on there. CL Smooth would make my top 50. Oh, the Reminisce Over You verse. I personally probably think it's the second one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, but we can find all of the verses actually through the artist, I think.
And through the songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather do songs in MCs than verses. Yeah.
Okay. Day by day, it's more impossible to cope.
I feel like I'm the one that's doing dope.
Can't keep a steady hand because I'm nervous. Every Sunday morning I'm in service, praying for forgiveness, trying to find an exit out the business. I know the Lord is looking down on me, but
yet and still, it's still hard for me to
be
feel
happy. Often drift when I drive, having fatal thoughts of suicide. Bang and get it over with. But now I'm worry free, but that's bullshit. I got a little boy to look after. And if I die, then my child will be a bastard. I had a woman down for me. But to me, it seemed like she was down to get me. Often, oh no. She helped me out in this.
Hold on.
Yeah. It's just another bitch.
Now she's back with a mother.
Now I'm realizing that I love her. Now I'm feeling lonely. It's so many emotions in that. And the fact that he says at the end of that, my mind's playing tricks on me, like none of that stuff is even happening.
Right. He's letting you know that
that's schizophrenia.
He's literally letting you know that this is what goes on inside the mind of a paranoid man.
Yeah. And it's like, I think because the song is such a big hit, everybody kind of just looks at it for what it is, right? And it's just another verse.
Face value.
Yeah, you can't look at that verse for face value. That verse is taking you, like you said, in the mind of schizophrenia. Like none of that stuff is happening. Yeah. And when the boy disappeared in the actual
the guy with the hat on him,
but the little boy that was in church with him.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were actually articulating all of those things. Leroy Green with the super chat. Talking about Lenny Green. Leroy with the super chat says, lastly, someone should tell D1 the choice doesn't negate the law of opposites. He'll understand what I mean. He was right, just not the best delivery.
Correct.
But yes,
But that's what I've been saying. It's like I don't disagree with what he's saying. It's just like your approach, it sucks. So
but yes, man. I think that verse is one of the greatest verses of all
I think
time.
the first and the third verse. That's what I'm saying.
You want to go with the first verse as well? Like,
No, the third verse is fine, but I'm saying
yeah,
like both of those verses is in the conversation for greatest verse. For me, that's what I mean. It's like it's personal. I don't know how the populace feels about it,
right.
but down here it's Scarface, and
What?
so our introduction into Scarface is those verses.
Well, that verse, man, like you said, you take it, a lot of people take it for face value, but that's mental health right there in a nutshell.
I told you, Mind Playing Tricks on Me is the mental health like anthem for like this culture, and it's funny because it happened early in this culture.
Because I think that verse for me, and I do think that's one of the greatest hip hop songs ever as well. Since we're talking about great hip hop songs, in my opinion, it's a top 10. That verse specifically, I think, articulates the title of that song the most. You know what I'm saying? Like that theme of the song. Now, obviously, the Bushwick Bill is a standout because he's punching on the concrete at the end of the video and things like that. That shows it visually, but that verse, each bar is just a different emotion, polar opposites. Literally, and you don't really think about it like that. Like, his girl was with him, and then he's like, she's out to get me. You know, she's back with her mother. I'm realizing I love her. I'm feeling lonely. Like, that whole verse is like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, man. And the fact that he was able to really put that down on paper and just articulate it, even with his vocal inflections, I think it's an amazing performance.
So, objectively, this is what I'll say. When I tell you that I have Scarface ahead of Jay, a verse like this is why. I'm not going to get nothing like that out of Jay, and that's the shit that I feel. It's not to take anything away from Jay, but when I say I prefer Scarface to Jay, there's your evidence. Because Jay's not going to do that to me, and that touches the souls of black people more to me. It touches on our mental health issues more. Not saying that he's the better rapper. I'm saying I prefer to hear stuff like that more. I relate to that more than I relate to all my mommy's bound. I just do.
You would pick one of those verses.
No, I mean, we just, but even because we bought up.
But no, but for real though, when Jay does get serious and he's done it on songs with Scarface, it's not the same. Like, I think that even if you compare Jay on This Can't Be Life, as dope as a verse as that is, where Face takes it, it's different.
Different dude. It's and it's about preference. That's why I say objectively I have Jay ahead, but personally I'm gonna take Scarface.
Yeah. K Nikolai with the super chat says, that song's getting me through some times.
See?
Yeah, I mean, that's what hip hop and that's what music is supposed to do, period. But I think before we go though, I don't think that we factor in stuff like that when it comes to lyrical skill or just the skill as an MC as much as we should, because being able to make people feel is a skill. And there are a lot of MCs who are lyrically talented and who have lyrical skill and who could put words together greatly, but they don't have that ability to make people feel. That's a whole intangible that I think really separates the greats from the goods.
True.
And Scarface has that in spades, and that's why, you know, not just the South loves him, but, you know, hip-hop loves him in general. And I think he doesn't toot his own horn enough. He's always giving everybody else props. But this man's one of the greatest, and this verse is a reason for it. Yeah. You know?
I think it's actually where his greatness, like, as an MC actually starts. So.
Mm-hmm. And even his, I like Mr. Scarface is Back. I think it's an amazing album. I think that album is kind of piggybacking off of, you know, these things and these ideals.
Absolutely.
KC1 with the super chat says, Coop, to me, P was very conscious.
Self-conscious.
You think Prodigy's conscious?
Self-reflecting. He has a lot of self-reflecting moments like Scarface.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he expresses it in the way that it's like you can see the mental health part of it. It just comes off like really gritty and gangster sometimes. But when he does say stuff like, I be wearing the same shit for days, not caring, it's like, oh no, that's mental health. That's not being a gangster. Like that's not being healthy.
Okay, Nicole with the super chat says, Smile by Scarface is another flame. Yeah, Smile's great. But yeah, Face does things that not everybody can do. Beanie Siegel has that gene. I think that Pac has that gene. And to some degree, I would give that to Cube as well.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we got to handle? I'm looking forward to this Rick Ross and Meek Mill album.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I
about
want to
it.
hear the Ross and Meek.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some bangers. I think we're going to get some records that we can vibe to. That's what I was hoping we didn't get away from. But it looks like that first half is going to be more Meek sound. That middle half is going to be more Ross sound.
I don't know what either one of their sounds are at this stage in their career, but I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Like what we're traditionally used to hearing from Meek and Ross together. Now, we know what Ross sounds like on a Meek track. I don't really know what Meek sounds like on a Ross type track.
So sophisticated.
Yeah. Well, after that, I guess we can get the Drake and Ross album, and then it'll be a wrap.
Yeah, I don't know that's happening.
Producer of the year right now, I got Hit Boy in the lead, and I guess we're just going to see the rest of this
I think that Benny album is going to determine producer of the year if Hit and Alchemist are on there. So,
you're right.
That's why I was like, I'm waiting. It's like, no.
Okay, we'll wait for that to drop. And hit like and subscribe, everybody. We appreciate everybody jumping into the room, and we will holler at y'all next time. And we're going to keep you updated on the station here, too.
Yay.
A2HH.